this thing he does in the movie when he's about to arm wrestle somebody. He takes his hat and he turns it around backwards, and that's like his switch. And for me, my switch is taking my hair down before a show. It's like I always walk around with it tied up because I'm feeding my fat face. I don't like to eat when I got hair in my face. So I'm always eating. So I always got my hair tied back. And as soon as that hair comes down, it's like the wolf appears, man, The wolf starts howling. I'm a wolf, man. Oh. The moon is out.
Mine
Hey,
is
Debbie.
when I actually put on lip gloss. I'm like, I never wear makeup at all, but if I'm going on camera, I'm like, I'm actually gonna try to look so much presentable with the lip gloss on.
So that's like your war. It's like your war paint. It's like your war paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Exactly.
I freaking love it. So, let's go ahead and we're gonna refresh the chat. I see that Debbie is here, but we're not getting a chat number, so we're just gonna refresh that really fast. And I just want to make sure we get a chat number before we say hello and make sure that we're broadcasting on all 15 channels all across the internet. We'll disable the chat message. Okay, great. We're live. Hello, everybody. And we've got Savage Joy Marie Mann, one of my favorite activists of our time, here with us today. And she's here to discuss all kinds of fun stuff with us and just hang out, have a good time. She's just going to chill. She likes to chill now. It's her new thing. She likes to go out and chill, which is what we like to do 3 times a day. We like to chill. And Joy, I just want to say it's wonderful to see you, and it's wonderful to have you here again. Friend of the show, Savage Joy.
You too.
I like talking like
Thank
Jimmy.
you so much. You guys have no idea how sweet Nay is. Like, sometimes I will just get PMs for no reason, like, you're awesome.
Aww.
And that makes my day.
Don't tell them.
It really makes my day.
Don't tell them that, but I gotta admit, I tell them when I'm texting you, I'm like, I'm sending Joy something nice. I literally do that. Oh, it's funny. I love chatting with you, though, because you're just so real. You keep it so real, and I love that about you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I also love that we're here kind of have fun today and not be so political, but if it gets political, we start talking about anything, whether it's general strike stuff, Medicare for all, or anything. Everything is on the table, you guys. And if you have questions for Joy, I will be reading her anything that you want to ask, okay? So, Trendy Orca is here. He swims in the oceans, and he is an orca. And he eats SeaWorld trainers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And he remembers you.
Oh, nice.
They say that orcas have fantastic memories. That's what I heard. And he says he remembers you, so.
Have you seen Blackfish?
It is one
because that will change your life.
It is one of the most horrific movies I've ever watched in my entire life. It is. Oh boy, it's just when you said the name, man, it just made my whole heart sink, because oh boy. Yeah, that is an expose of exposés. You just don't want to play into it. You don't want to be one of those people.
And Jeffrey Ventura, who did the film, he's on Twitter. He's very active. I talked to him in DM a bunch of times. Oh, cool. He is awesome, and he's so passionate about trying to make change, and even climate and everything, not just whales and such, but he's a doctor, so he talks about Medicare for all, things like that. So definitely follow him if you're not. He's amazing.
All right, I will do that. Have you been encountering any kind of silencing from social media? Have you noticed that your followers aren't getting notified? I swear it was like 3 weeks ago. I saw you put something up. You said, I went live and none of my audience was notified or something. What happened?
Absolutely. I've been noticing that so much. And thankfully, Rockfin approved me last week, so that's good. But most of my followers are YouTube. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, that's, we got to kind of move people over to Rockfin, but it's not that known at this point, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I mean, YouTube algorithm has been kicking my ass. I mean, I talk about very unconventional things. Sometimes they'll drop in the middle of the stream because I dare say, like, EPSTIN, or something like we did a show the other day and we had to put like it was like Julie Asin or something. Like you always have to like switch words, and that's not journalism. That's not reporting. That's not like you shouldn't have to talk in code for people to have to understand you. It's so bizarre, and I notice Twitter's doing that with me as well.
Where do you draw the line? So let me give you an example. This morning I was on Twitter, and now I don't consider myself Jewish, but my mom's Jewish, my dad's Jewish, my sister's Jewish, all my uncles, my cousins, my grandparents, they're all Jewish. So my blood is 99% Jewish, from European Jew, okay? I'm not religious. I'm an atheist, so I don't call myself Jewish. But I was on Twitter this morning, and somebody put up a post, and I was trying to explain, it's multiple levels here. I was trying to explain it to my audience, and I couldn't tell them the words in the post because I was afraid I was going to get algorithmed by some artificial intelligent program that thinks that I'm the one that's trying to spread anti-Semitic sentiment on my channel, where I'm just trying to highlight it, and now I've got something important to say about it as well. So the post went something like this. The people of that persuasion, I'm not going to say it in the sentence because the algorithm will catch me, should be forced to put up lights on their homes during, December, when a lot of people are putting lights up on their homes, because they need to assimilate. And as someone who grew up Jewish, I immediately was very offended by the statement. I was like, whoa. I was like, that's effed up. I was like, I can't even believe that this is on Twitter. And then I was like, well, yeah, I don't agree with it. I was like, is it racist? Well, no, it's not racist. Is it sexist? Of course not. Is it anti-Semitic? Well, yeah, it's anti-Semitic, but is criticizing Israel anti-Semitic? Well, they say it is. So I find myself in this really weird situation where I'm unable to critique something. And not only that, Twitter didn't just take the post down after a couple of crazies reported it. And I'll explain that all too. They suspended the account. And that really upset me because, number one, okay, yes, it's provocative. No, I don't agree with it. Yeah, okay, it could be arguable whether it's anti-Semitic or not. It was somebody's opinion that he feels that these people should be forced to do this on their home, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like them having to wear a star, it's like to mark
right.
there or to just get along with it or whatever. The conversation is worth having. And by Jack Dorsey saying, no, it's not worth having, he's admitting that if you disagree with their narrative, and when I say they, it's anybody. I'm not saying it's the far left. I'm saying it's anybody. If you're disagreeing with me, and I feel that your commentary is harmful or hurtful or offensive, then not only am I going to take your commentary down, but I'm going to prevent you from being able to have a voice at all. And then we find ourselves in this position now, to where I'd like to say we've got to stop censoring people and doing all this, but it's too late. We're already doing it. And it's like my brain's exploding over this stuff. I feel that the guy who put that statement up on Twitter, those words deserve to be seen by everybody because that topic needs to be discussed. And we had a very nice conversation about it this morning. And had I not seen that post at all, which is what they wanted to do, they were trying to subvert the message completely. But somebody had got a screenshot of it, so I got to see it before the account went down. We could have these beautiful discussions and grow. We could all grow. But them silencing us isn't making us grow. It's holding us back from growing.
Yeah, I mean, discourse is dead. I mean, you see, even, live streamers and stuff. Like, for me, I've interviewed over 300 people in the 4.5 years I've done my show. And I don't agree with all of them. That's boring. Why would I bring on other joys? What's the point? It's boring. So I bring on people who don't always agree with me, and that's discourse. That's how you learn. That's how you open your mind. That makes for good discussions, and there isn't a lot of that. The one thing that's frustrating about Twitter, well, one of many things, is, when it comes to actual blatant lies and harassment, they just don't give a fuck. I mean, there is this one person, this one account, who, since I was on Force the Vote in last November and shared my story, has been attacking me. And when I say attacking, I mean altering pictures of me with like naked bodies and stuff, and like, you know, just saying the worst things possible about me, threatening to call Social Security and tell them I'm lying about being blind. I mean, you name this person is the biggest piece of shit, and even threatening me, harassing me, you name it. And they have been reported thousands of times throughout the past 10 months by my followers. And every time I get an email, this is not going against our, you know, and I'm like, how is blatantly calling me names, like blatantly threatening me, blatantly harassing and stalking? And I mean, it's just unbelievable. And it got to the point where, you know, Marianne Williamson's a dear friend, and, you know, she has 3 million followers, and she's a blue check. So I'm like, well, they'll listen to her. So she hit up Twitter for me because she's like, this isn't right. Like, this, you know, she's getting attacked left and right. And then, so he got suspended for 3 days and then came back. And I'm like, you can't really, like, you're shadow banning my posts talking about supporting sex work, and you're literally letting this person come on and attack me every single day and threaten me, and that's not against your standards. It's such bullshit. It really is. And, you know, but back to your point, I think we learned a lot when we saw leftists saying, yes, Trump's account should be taken down.
I'm guilty.
I think we learned a lot about who would.
I'm guilty of that, and I've learned. Jimmy taught me. We'll talk. I'll tell you about it after you're done talking.
It was interesting to see, like, pro Julian Assange, pro anti-censorship people now saying, yes, take Trump's account down and things like that. So it was an interesting dichotomy that you saw, you know, now this discussion about, like, is he the exception, or, like, we all know he's a piece of shit, but, like, is censorship period, or are some people like, is there a caveat, some kind of asterisk, like.
I'm just waving at one of the audience members said hello, Billy, and I just want to say they're commenting on your hair. Orca loves your hair. He says it's gorgeous hair color. I don't know how would he even notice something like that? How are you gonna notice somebody's hair? Nobody notices hair color anymore, pal. And I was going to say about Jimmy Dore, when I was screaming to have Donald Trump removed from Twitter, it was way before all this bullshit. It was when he was calling the leader of North Korea Little Rocket Man on Twitter. I said, you can't start World War III on Twitter. I said, that should be a rule. I mean, Jack Dorsey should make that rule right now. Rule number 1A, or pre-1. How about that? Point 1. You can't go on Twitter and start World War III. You know, and if you do, we're going to take your account down. Hey, for me, that was reason enough to take Trump's account down. He was freaking starting goddamn world wars. You know, at the same time, for a lot of his rhetoric, I didn't agree with. I thought, you know, let it go, whatever. But that tweet that he said that got him taken down, I believe it was it the January 6th thing that ended up was the one that was the straw that broke the camel's back? Look, man, he's organizing an insurrection, using social media to do it. And if they want to go after, look, they'll take me down. I don't have if I'm breaking their rules, I'm breaking their terms of service, I don't mind them punishing me. I'd like to be able to get my channel back after the punishment has been served out. And if that was the punishment that someone gets for almost starting World War III, well then okay, you know, give him the account back, and I'd be okay with that. And as soon as he does it again, ban him again. As far as that guy that was going after you, listen, they're spending so much time controlling your narrative and controlling my narrative that they're not trying to protect us. They're just trying to shut us up. So when we're getting harassed and we're getting attacked, those algorithms are already spent monitoring us. And person on person harassment, they don't treat that like it's something they're concerned about, because they always just say, oh, it's a squabble, let them work it out between themselves. And not realizing this person is doxing you, this person is showing up to harass you in public, this person is slandering you using their service, and it goes on and on and on. You know, this is how bad it got, Joy, for me. I had people literally threaten me, okay? Physical harm, the whole deal. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this, and social media is not helping me, and I couldn't report any of these people. So I just started making a mention. I've got a friend of mine that he used to be a bouncer in a bar, and he spent years basically doing collections for people. And he's a big bad guy, and he comes on my show and gets high with us all the time. And I just started making jokes around him and kind of highlighting the fact that he was around. And man, it was amazing. Hey man, I wonder if I need to buy Chuckles a plane ticket and send him somewhere this week. And we say, man, Chuckles needs to go brush somebody's teeth. Just making jokes and going right over the algorithm. And me having to threaten my audience with physical harm? Are you kidding me? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And yet, in order to survive on social media, because they won't protect us, Joy, they don't care about us. We have to literally go through these crazy extremes, you know. And if you need a Chuckles, I can get you a Chuckles. They're great. Chuckles is great. Come to your show, hang out, keep everybody in line. He hacks too.
His name is Chuckles?
His name is Chuckles, and he's like 6'2". And
that's amazing.
He's bald and he's intimidating, and he's great. He's a great guy, you know. And he just, if people don't want to spout off when he's in the chat, you know, and they know he's around.
Yeah, that's what I need. I need some like big dude to protect me.
I'm sure you've already got one. I'm sure you've already got some fans out there that would love to be your Chuckles. You know, and just be there for you.
No, like, I think a lot of the guys that watch me are just like, I don't know, like sending me dick pics and stuff. I don't know that I have any guys who watch who actually like are like, don't mess with her.
Right. I have a feeling you do. You have a huge following, and you know, that's the beauty of it is once they realize that they are discoverable. And that's the other thing. The anonymity on YouTube drives me freaking crazy. Why do the trolls get to be anonymous? But when I go on Facebook, I had to use my real name and expose my reality. I had to expose my identity to everybody, to thousands of people. Think about the flip on that. Oh, but if you're going to go tell someone that you're going to go show up at their house and do something to them, oh, you can do that under a subversive name that no one will know. You could be Hillary Clinton and say that. You could be Santa Claus and say, you know, I'm Santa Claus. I'm going to come down your chimney tonight. And we have no tools. And they sit there and they do these public displays as if they're going so far out of their way for us to, with their algorithm and their AI. And that's another thing we could talk about is AI. Don't get me started on AI, Joy. Oh my goodness gracious. The algorithm and artificial intelligence, it's something we try to talk about that on every show now because it is so important. It makes me sound like a crazy conspiracy nut, but it's sad is that it's already happened and people have already lost their lives. People have already died from artificial intelligence. So before we move on to cannabis, which is what the next thing I want to talk to you about, I'll tell you what happened in 2019. 347 people lost their lives. They were on two 737 MAX Boeings, and the jets decided to nosedive and lock the pilots out. Within 6 months of each other, it happened twice. That was artificial intelligence. Intelligent, huh?
How so?
It locked.
Like, what do you mean?
It locked the pilot out both planes locked the pilot out and crashed the planes and killed everybody on board. They call that artificial intelligence.
I see. But somebody had to make that happen, correct?
As far as the plane deciding to nosedive, no, they didn't make it happen. The plane has software on it that decided, that misread a sensor and thought that the planes both planes thought they were stalling, so they immediately go into a nosedive to combat the stall. And then the controls no longer work for the pilot. It shuts the pilot out. So the pilot sits there in horror as he murders 170 people behind him with nothing he can do. It happened twice.
Wow.
In 2019. That's AI. And this is what Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey are so excited about. Artificial intelligence. And I say we need to write a bill right now that has every AI has to have a human back door. You have to have some kind of a way that if this AI, I don't care if it's the alarm clock next to your bed, you have to be able to get into that thing to fix it. If there is a jet and some re-engineer over there at Boeing is thinking, hey, I think it'd be a great idea to just give the jet all of the power and lock the pilot out. That guy doesn't just need to be fired. He needs to go to prison for like 20 years. There needs to be a bill that says anybody that writes code that locks a human out needs to go to prison. And literally, YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, they've already got the lockout. When your channel gets a strike, that's not a human being, man. That's AI. And then when you contact them, a lot of the people that you talk to say, well, we can't control that. It's out of our hands. Once again, The human being is locked out of the loop. So that's look, it's not just going to stop here. It's going to get so bad, Joy, because of what's going on with blockchain. And now Elon Musk, now that Elon Musk wrote this whole thing, expose years ago about how horrible and deadly AI is, well, now that he's completely bought out from it, he wants to bring AI into the blockchain. And Jack Dorsey thinks that AI is going to create world peace. They literally said that in an interview. We watched it on the show. It's petrifying. Does that scare you?
Yeah, that's pretty daunting. And honestly, it makes me think of all the Yang Bangers, because they're like all about how great this is and how awesome it is that things are becoming automated. But, we want monetarily to be compensated because of the automation. But it's so cool and it's awesome. And it's actually really not. It's actually scary because, you read these sci-fi stories and like 1984 and all this shit, like, in college, and then you look at it now and you're like, holy shit, like, are we that far from getting barcode tattoos? Like there actually was a city, and now I cannot think of it, but there was a city where a mayor, it was Baltimore. There was a guy running for mayor, and he suggested that everyone in Baltimore get microchipped. He lost, but he ran on that.
Wow.
Like, it is nuts. It's crazy.
No, it's like I almost hate getting into this conversation because it's so depressing. But I just want to read a comment from the chat from Raymond. He says, "Yes, you're right." He says, "But is the AI not just evil because of the algorithm, which is man-made?" Let me tell you this, Raymond. It's philosophers that, like you, that spend all your time thinking about the whys and the hows and the who cares, bro. You're wasting your time thinking about, well, is it evil because man? Oh, why? Is it? What you need to be worried about and focused on, bro, is not why it is the way it is and who made it the way it is or the fact that it's evil. You need to be focused on the fact that there's 400 dead people in its wake already, and that's just getting started. It's just getting warmed up, right? It hasn't even entered the blockchain yet. We're all getting subverted. We're all getting silenced. And you're worried about the fact that a human being wrote it? Bro, get your head out of the clouds, man, and start actually getting into the fight. You know, it's all these philosophers and all these people that, well, I'm going to sit here and think about it. I'm going to think about this. No, action now. It's time. This is the time. Stop thinking about it, man. Go watch The Terminator. 2 hours, you'll be ready. Okay, if you really need to find out if it's the human beings that caused all this, it is. Okay, there, we've ended the discussion. Now let's get on to the solution. Okay, now, let's talking about getting on. Let's get on to the cannabis. I'm excited. So I already did a bong rip, and it was 420. I wanted to smoke at 420 with everybody. But the real reason, I know we want to talk a little social stuff and a little, political stuff. Sometimes we do it. But Joy literally contacted me and said, hey, I want to come on your show and talk about cannabis. And you got to understand, that is one of the most exciting things for someone to say to me, ever. I want to come on your show and talk about cannabis. Yes. So, not long ago, world traveler Savage Joy Marie Mann decided to hop a plane and headed to the great city of LA, where she met our friend of the show, Ron Placone, who is hilarious and awesome and will soon be in a movie, Left at Wall. You guys can all check out Left at Wall. He is trying to get as much support for that so they can get rolling on that. Check it out. It's a great premise for a movie. And she is also, I believe, every week now on the Ron Placone Show. Am I right? Get Your News On with Ron now features Savage Joy Marie.
We do a monthly.
Okay, once a month, and it's that time of the month. Oh, it's Savage Joy Marie Mann. I love it when you say that. You're so freaking funny. I was like, she really is funny. I mean, she's just funny. Just funny, funny just rises. You know, like the beautiful smell that comes from a rose. It just, you're just funny. What can I say? So, she went and visited Ron, and while she was there, she said, I want to try cannabis, and I've never used cannabis. Joy, I know it's rude, but you don't have to give an exact. What, can I just kind of get your age-ish?
Yeah, no, I'm 42.
Oh my God, I thought you were 30. I swear I thought she was 33. Oh, I'm so excited. I thought you were like 33 years old.
No, I'm 42.
I'm so
cool.
cool.
I don't look or act it.
You are very young at heart. You have a lot of energy.
I am, and I have a very immature sense of humor. So I think that adds to it as well, why people think I'm so much younger. But yeah, I'm 42, and when I was in high school and college, I did the straight edge thing with my punk rock friends, and I had my first drink on my 21st birthday. Like, I don't know. I was always just a nerd, and my friends have teased me for decades. Oh, boy, she's such a prude, and we're gonna smoke pot, so she has to go in another room. It's always been this thing. And yeah, I mean, Ron and I have been friends for years, and he said, we would joke about the next time we hang out, you are gonna pop my cherry. Joy is trying the pot, as we called it. And yeah, so it was a plan for over a year, and I was like, Ron, I'm coming out to LA. It's on.
So wait,
we hung out 2 weeks ago.
Before we get to the part where it actually happened, I got a few questions. I want to just build up a little bit more of a background here. So I realized 4-2, you put a 0 after that, and that's 420. Isn't that perfect, everybody?
Oh, true.
Yep. It's a perfect time. If you're gonna start smoking cannabis, it should be at 42. Number 2, what is your pre-perception of cannabis prior? And I know you said you were cool with it, and you didn't. People that smoked it didn't bother you, said, but you didn't really know how it made you feel prior. So you were kind of just guessing how people behaved around you because it's always around you. People are always using cannabis around you. What did you think? What was the difference between what you perceived cannabis to do to your brain and what you found out it actually did?
I've always been pro-cannabis. You know, I've always been like, legalize it, hell yes. The only reason I never smoked it was because the smell. I don't know, for some reason, it makes me very nauseous.
I don't like the smell either. I just want you to know
so-
that. I don't like the smell when someone's smoking a joint. It smells like dog shit to me. Okay, go on. Just so you know.
So that was why. That's really the main reason I never did it. Not because I was against it or what, but I did, hear stories. It made me paranoid. I sat in a corner and thought I pooped my pants. Like I hear all of these stories, and I'm like, I was like, Ron, 2 people told me they thought they shat themselves the first time they did pot. And he's like, Joy, we're going to be at the ocean. There's worse things in the ocean. If it happens, just go in the ocean. I'm like, oh my God, freaking out so bad. So it's just more like, I don't want to be paranoid. I don't want to be like having some kind of like, I'm nuts enough. I don't want to have like some issue. So it was, and then when I did it, I realized I just became like the world's biggest giggler. Apparently I just giggled for like an hour, like hardcore straight for no reason.
Did you smoke a joint? Was it a bowl? Was it a little bong? How did you smoke it? Was it a vape pen?
No, Ron got me Skizzles.
Skittles.
They're edibles. And they taste and look like Skittles, but they're edibles.
So you
and
didn't
I
even
took them
smoke.
with drinks, which
right.
was the best.
So how long did it take before you were feeling the effects? Like a half hour?
Yeah, I would say about half an hour.
And then.
Yeah, and.
Do you remember? Do you remember the experience?
I remember Ron, my husband, and I were walking down Santa Monica Pier, and I remember saying, okay, guys, I gotta stop. I gotta sit down. My knees are shaking. And I sat down on the bench, and I saw a face on a bench that was like laughing really loud, telling me to eat more Skizzles. And it had like a really big red mouth. And I just remember laughing hysterically, looking up and seeing Ron saying, this is so awesome.
That is awesome. That sounds like a scene from a movie. I mean,
yeah, it was pretty amazing. And of course, Ron took it too. And he's,
it's funny. I had like a flash from the movie. I had a flash from the movie Pick a Destiny with Jack Black. It's so funny, it's that kind of where he was with Sasquatch. Do you remember that scene?
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
Everybody, Savage Joy hasn't seen Pick a Destiny with Jack Black. You like to...
What's it called?
Pick of Destiny. It's called, the name of the movie is called, what's it called? The Pick of Destiny. It's something, the Pick of Destiny.
Never heard of it.
Look. You're gonna giggle your ass off. That whole movie is written so well. You're going to love it. It is done so well. There's so many good bits in that movie. Oh my God. It's called Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're gonna laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. Great movie. And there's a part where he goes and he's once he gets on some kind of a hallucinogen or something, and then he's like in a Sasquatch reality, and he loves Sasquatch and Sasquatch loves him, and it's really funny. So it's really.
I was thinking of in SLC Punks. Matthew Lillard has that scene where he's selling acid and he has them in his pants pocket, and then the water sprinklers get turned on and it all soaks through him, and he goes like, it was Devon Sawa's character, and he it just fries his brain for the rest of his life. It's a comedy though. It's a comedy.
I haven't heard of that. SLC Punk. Okay, I'm gonna have to see that one. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. There's movies that do that really well. There are some movies that do the whole hallucinogenic thing really well, and you're like, man, they got that right. One of the first ones I ever saw was crazy. Was "Song Remains the Same" by Led Zeppelin. They did like this epic movie based on their album "Song Remains the Same" with all their music
Oh,
in it.
really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's really violent, and it's like kind of like um Pink Floyd The Wall era style, but it's much poorer quality. It's like they didn't go to a real film studio to have this done. It was just it's horrible. But there's scenes in that movie where they try to do special effects and they've just got the trails and the blurs down, and you're like, wow, that's just what it's like. All the colors, man. Wow, and it feels so good. And you're like, it's not easy to do, man. Those visual effects are not easy to explain to people when you're talking about, the wall is breathing, and people are like, what do you mean the wall's breathing? And I'm like, it's like, look at the orange peel pattern on it. It's all like crawling like in sequence with each other and doing this and pulsating and doing all that. When you're on mushrooms and acid, that's a very common perception. And there was a show when we were kids. It was called In Living Color with
Oh yeah,
Jim Carrey.
I grew up on that.
Okay, when they used to do the very intro, chicka 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 in living color, and they would show the logo, and the logo would go blue. You remember when the logo would melt like that, and that's what it looks like. They got it really good on that. That's like a really good effect to demonstrate what your eyes are perceiving when you're on. I don't recommend them. We talk about it on the channel from time to time, and I'm like, I don't recommend you guys do that kind of stuff. I'm like, it's not for everybody. I did it when I was younger. I would never want to do it now. And I'm like, cannabis is good enough. I mean, I'm not hallucinating on cannabis, but I get visual effects. I'll look at things and colors seem more colorful. And you feel just kind of like euphoric. Did you experience euphoria? Were you like want to like, I don't know, happy, just really content?
I did. I definitely felt that, and it was interesting because trying it for the first time after I was I became mostly blind. That was what kind of had me nervous. At the same time, probably added to the experience because when you're 85% blind and can't see much, and then you do something that actually awakens your senses to some things, it was kind of like I was feeling things so much stronger. Like when I would walk, my feet would feel the pier that much.
You were aware of it. You were conscious of it.
Yeah.
Something that
like,
you normally wouldn't be conscious of.
Aware,
yes. Oh, that's so cool. So, when you did the one edible or whatever you did, the Skittles, and was this the only time you've ever used it, or have you done anything since?
No, that is it. Ron got me a whole bag, so the 2 days later I did my book signing and comedy show with Jimmy Dore and all them. So I just passed the rest out because the next morning I flew home and I can't take them to Pennsylvania. So I'm like, here, just take some.
So you guys, I got to see a clip because Joy actually put up on Twitter a clip from someone had taken while she was on stage, and she was fantastic. She did stand-up comedy opening up for Jimmy Dore. And what club was it at?
It's called Flappers.
Flappers. She was at Flappers. And who else did you open up for? It wasn't just Jimmy.
It was Jimmy, Miserable Lib, Steph, and Rick Overton.
Rick Overton. Okay. So how long was your set for?
Well, I did about 15 minutes.
Wow! Yeah, did it feel like a year?
A long time.
Yeah, man.
I've never done comedy in my life.
Oh my God!
Ever,
15 minutes the first time.
This was a one-time thing, and I was so nervous. But it was my book signing, so I knew practically everyone there. So I figured if I'm going to do it, I'm gonna do it with people who I think are probably gonna be nice to me regardless. So yeah, it was a blast. And Jimmy and Steph said that I'm a natural and I should do it again. And I said, no, I will not do it again.
Why? Why would you say you
No.
won't do it again? You just wanted to do it once? Was it just a bucket list thing?
It really was a bucket list thing. I love to
Huh.
make people laugh, and that's one of the reasons my audience even watches my show, because I'm really sarcastic. But I don't know, like there's a very different it's a different animal to get in front of people you know and love than to just like go open at a club. I mean, my comedy was very much geared towards leftists.
Yes, yes.
And things like that. So just like doing a comedy club where you don't know anyone and they could be a bunch of shit libs and you're talking about shit libs, and it could be a recipe for disaster. So I think I'll just enjoy the one time I did it and how Jimmy laughed hysterically the entire time, and just kind of, be happy with that.
Let's.
And Pat, Pat, he kept saying, Pat Cody, he's my co-author, he kept saying, Joy, you're gonna be cringe, and it's okay, because it's your first time.
You proved him wrong.
And he was like, we have that kind of relationship. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, I probably will be. It's all right. And then, like, all night, he was like, Joy, I thought you were going to be fucking horrible. I thought you were going to be so cringe, but you killed it.
Thanks,
He's
bro.
going around telling everyone how cringe he thought I was.
Right, he's horrible. I'm going to tell him he's a horrible person. You're a horrible person. All right, so before we move on to anything else, Trendy Orca just said, I just went to your channel, Joy, and I subscribed. What's the name of your YouTube channel? Is it
You can actually find me by going to Savage Joy Marie Mann. And also I do a Monday show on Compton Jay's network, Populous Voice Network. So Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. It's called Postmortem Breakdown. So we kind of talk about, like, after the death of democracy, like, what do we do now? So you can find me both places.
Okay. So I don't want to get into this too much, but I will just ask you, do you see someone crystallizing as a leader for all of us to get behind right now? A single person?
No.
Yeah. That's not a...
And we need to be our own leaders anyway.
So
we need to.
Let's hear about that. What do you... Let's go ahead.
We have to, we are the people we've been waiting for. It's us. Every time we've had faith in someone, they've disappointed us. So, and there's only so much they will do, only so much they can do. And my Tuesday was the first time in 25 years I haven't voted. Because I'm at the point where I'm like, direct action is so superior to electoral politics. I mean, voting for people who do not represent what you believe means it's not helping anything. Systemic change happens from being in the streets and demanding what we deserve. I mean, women's right to vote, civil rights, gay rights, all of these things were not legislated. That nobody voted those things into change. That was people saying enough is enough in the streets, and that's how it changed. So we need to fight the power and bring the power back to the people.
I just thought of something. It never even occurred to me before. But geez, what would happen if it collapsed and someone like Donald Trump tried to seize power? Would not be president of the United States, but just take over the United States. What would we do? Would we stand up and fight someone like that?
I just don't know, because there are the brunch shitlibs who are like, who think they're slacktivists. They tweet all day and think they're doing something. They think they're helping. And when they protest Trump, they are being hypocrites because they're calling him, say, a warmonger when Hillary and Obama are too, or calling him a rapist, which and Bill Clinton are too, or you know what I mean. So it's not exactly effective because they're saying the things just because he's a Republican. So even if like when they did the women's march, it wasn't about women. It was about fuck Trump. I mean, that's what it was about. And, you know, when they get together, it is not for substance. So, um, thinking that people, I feel like if shit was going down, it would have gone down when COVID first started and we had millions of people unemployed and people were hurting more than they ever have in our lifetime.
Can I stop you right there? Joy, let me stop you at COVID right there. I thought it was going to happen in Oakland, Black Lives Matter, years ago. I swear. And we have these opportunities, and it's like people just don't want to really... There's a lot of people that do, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of young people out there on the street that protest when the protests need to happen. In fact, I got to say, I've got love for all of them, and I even have love for the people I disagree with, that are out there in the street protesting things that I totally disagree with. I love that they're out there getting in the street and doing that. It's the only place where actual change is going to happen. So I stopped you at COVID. We didn't want to really get out and do anything. But then again, I didn't want to go out in the street and protest because I thought I was going to catch COVID. That was tricky, wasn't it?
I'm sorry? It was what?
It was tricky. It was tricky because it's like you want to go out in the street and protest what's going on with COVID. At the same time, we didn't know everything we needed to know about it at the time. And, a lot of people,
right.
Were not willing to take that risk.
Went out a lot for Black Lives Matter and for demanding stimulus checks, things like that.
Medicare for all.
They weren't doing shit.
Medicare for all, for instance, when we could have gotten out in the street when AOC and the squad decided to not force the vote. And there were people out in the street. There were people, they did force the vote. And it's like, yeah, I guess we don't bring tents. Maybe we need to start bringing backpacks and tents, and we're like, yeah, we'll go out today and we'll go protest. That was the day we protested, and we're not making power uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was a co-organizer for national, 56 Medicare for All marches, and wow. I was doing like 16-hour days, getting 56 marches on the ground, and it was a lot of work, and it's so intense, but it felt good. But then 2 days later, I went to AOC's office with Susan Sarandon and some other people, and we did a call to action where we were saying, you ran on Medicare for all, you talked a good game for several years. She went on my show and talked about how she was so Medicare for all, and that's why people voted for her and donated to her. And she hasn't even tweeted the words Medicare for all in over 10 months. So we went to a call for action, and we're like, yo, you're not even talking about it, let alone doing anything about it. And people were like, why don't you go to Republicans? Because Republicans don't talk about wanting Medicare for all. I'm holding people accountable who said they fought for it and now just donated over $100,000 to corporate Democrat candidates with money they got from donations to them. Like, AOC showed who she was so many times.
This is so funny.
People still look to her like...
I'm like...
What's that?
I was confused, and I thought you were talking about Susan Sarandon, and then now I realized finally, because I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm like, oh, she's talking about AOC all this time, not Susan Sarandon. Okay, my bad.
Oh, no, Susan's my girl now.
I want to tell you, I love Susan Sarandon like I love Elvira. Like, oh, God.
She's so, I tried not to fangirl when I met her, but like I spoke before her and passed her the megaphone, and I was just like, holy shit. And I finally got to give her a copy of my book that she's in, like unknowingly. And, I mean, she's followed me for a couple years on Twitter. We've just never met until recently. And I like pretty much like afterwards, I was like, because we had a conversation for a while. She's cool. She's really cool and down to earth. Like, she's not Hollywood, in any sense of the word.
Right.
She's an activist.
Yeah, I get
she really
that.
Is.
She cares way more than just about anybody else does. It's crazy when you see the way someone like $2. What was that guy's name? The shit lib actor. His sister is an actress. She was in.
John Cusack.
Oh my God, that guy! He blocked me. He blocked me on Twitter. I got blocked by John Cusack on Twitter.
He followed me for over a year.
What happened to that guy?
He'd come on my show, and I was like, "What?" And then he used to be like pro Bernie and pro like Medicare for all and everything, and then he just went shit lib.
Batshit lib.
He just went bananas.
Yeah, crazy, right? I mean, someone like that, it's not because he's getting bought, It's like because he's listening to the wrong person. I wonder who he's listening to, Who's his guru?
With him, it was after January 6th with him, just like it was with a lot of people. They're like, Trump. And it's like, no, let's focus on the issues of Trump.
It's Trump derangement syndrome. He's got the Trump derangement syndrome.
It absolutely was, TD.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. You want to hear something funny? You know that there's 3 different kinds of Trump derangement syndrome? There's 3 different kinds. And there literally should be a study about this. There's the basic kind that John Cusack got. Drives you crazy. CNN, showing the empty podiums of Trump before he's even speaking.
Right.
These people went crazy. That's the one kind, right? Then there's the other kind. I have a friend, his name is H.A. Goodman. Okay, he's an author, columnist, and writer. He's been published in the Jerusalem Times, and he's a Donald Trump loving independent. He is a horrible, horrible person as far as I'm concerned, because he really likes Donald Trump.
He is.
Okay.
He's awful.
So this guy, H.A. Goodman, he's like, Donald Trump cannot do a single goddamn thing wrong. He's never told a single lie, ever. I mean, that's the other TDS, right? In favor of him, right? So you got the shit lib TDS. You've got the MAGAs, right? They're all deranged. Now there's a third one. Are you ready for it? The David Pakman TDS, where you have to base your whole life around Donald Trump, and every single thing that Donald Trump does is absolutely the most horrible thing ever. So bad that you go so far out of your way to amplify, and Jimmy Dore talks about this all the time, you go so far out of your way to amplify the things that Donald Trump does that really nobody cares about, that when it really comes to the horrible shit that Donald Trump does, and he does a lot, nobody wants to listen to you anymore. David Pakman, who are you, you has-been? What happened to that guy? Where is he? He's gone. Mm-hmm. He's got like 1 million followers. Have you heard from David Pakman at all? He's on TV.
I mean, I was never like a fan of him or anything, but to me, he's kind of equivalent to Sam Cedar.
I didn't want to say Sam Cedar. I didn't want to say Sam Cedar because I didn't know where you were on him. But when I mentioned him, I was going to mention Sam Cedar too. I was going to mention both of them at the same time because.
Oh, I don't put up with that shit, Lib. Hell no. Look, Emma Vigeland is one of the biggest fucking idiots in the world.
Exactly.
I have challenged her to a debate so many times.
She won't do it.
And she ignores me, even though I know she has seen it at least several times. I told Jimmy, I said, look, I'm trying to debate Emma. Because them dissing Force the Vote, them dissing activists, them, they don't do a damn fucking thing. And they just punch down at those of us who actually do something. No. Mm-mm.
Wow. So yeah,
there are very few screamers I like.
I got into it with all of them, with the whole Sam Cedar, because I used to be a fan of Sam Cedar. I used to be I was a fan of the Young Turks years ago, and then I started doing you know, takedowns of Jank and Anna when they did stupid stuff on their show. From like, probably 2016, 2017, I was already on it, And when I realized what was going on after Jimmy Dore left the Young Turks, when I realized that there was this divide, someone's leaving a message on my answering machine. I have no idea who that is. I don't recognize their voice. It sounded like Dino. Anyhow, I forgot what I was talking about.
How bad the Young Turks suck.
Well, that's right. And I was going to tell you about how I saw the divide that was going on between. It was basically Medicare for All was like the big volcano that exploded and kind of exposed the whole thing. But I was anti the Young Turks for years. And then when I caught on the fact that Jimmy Dore was catching on to it, and I was like, oh, this is getting really good, man. I've got someone to stand with me against something, because I felt like I was like the only person on the left that saw the stupidity coming from the Young Turks, because sometimes they were making sense. And it was, I guess, after they got all that money that they just flipped their narrative like Cusack did. And, oh, that's it! Cusack must watch the Young Turks and get everything from the Young Turks. I bet you that's what it is.
That could be. He probably, you know what, I'm going to check who he follows, because he only follows like 500 people or so. So I'm going to see if he follows Cedar, Emma.
I bet he does.
Young Turks.
That makes total
Anna.
sense.
I'm going to totally check that out.
They never do put out a good argument. Sam Cedar, as many times I've heard him bash Jimmy Dore, it's never a good argument. It's always, oh, he's bad for this and he's da-da-da and all that. But he can never really go after him for what he says. He goes after him. He calls him a nightclub comedian. Substance. He's smoking. He doesn't care about his audience. He's bought. I heard Sam Cedar say that Jimmy Dore was bought.
There are, in fairness, the reason people like him say that shit is because they have an audience that eats that shit up.
Right.
They don't care if there's credence. They're like,
it's okay if they're wrong.
Regurgitate
it's okay if they're wrong about something. Why can't Sam Cedar just recognize that? Look, Jimmy Dore's been wrong about a few things lately that I disagree with, okay? When it comes to and all that stuff, I'm not on board with that crazy doctor guy, and that's cool. That's okay. It's a lot of that is opinion stuff, and if him and I are going to disagree on certain things, he always says, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not giving you advice. Good. He feel free to feel however you feel about that stuff. I'm fine with that. Sam Cedar could call him out on just that alone, like I just did. And I don't have to hate on Jimmy because I disagree with him on that. There's things that Sam Cedar say that he said in the past where I was blown away and I was like, wow, I totally agree with him. He really makes a lot of sense right here. Wow, yes, this is great. I like what he's saying. And then, I'm going to attack Jimmy Dore personally because he's a nightclub comedian. And then you lose me. Can we just, like we were talking about earlier, you said, I like to have people on that I disagree with. It's the discourse. Man, it's like I like to have H.A. Goodman on. I had H.A. Goodman on my show, and he's wonderful. He's a wonderful person. And him and I share common beliefs in some things, but, when it comes to politics, not at all. He was a Bernie Sanders supporter. H.A. Goodman.
I know.
Oh, you know who he is!
And he voted Jill Stein.
Oh,
he talked about it every show. He's like, and the arrest of Hillary Clinton is imminent. He said that like 20 times every show, and I'm like, I'm still waiting, dude.
You know who H.A. Goodman is, and you said it before, and I misunderstood you. Oh, I'm so happy that you know that, because now you can totally understand the three different kinds of Trump derangement syndrome. You can totally relate them to those people,
Totally. Totally.
Oh, God, man.
Oh
look,
yeah, he went real off the rails.
I've had Trump derangement syndrome. Did you see American Horror Story?
No, I haven't.
Okay, are you into horror?
No, I get scared
Yeah.
really
American
easily.
Horror Story is fucking terrifying, Joy. Don't ever watch it. It is so disturbing
I'm
and
not.
fucking terrifying that even me, I've got a poster of two men shooting each other on the wall behind me. I mean, I'm a violence guy. It's cool. I'm all right with that. But at the same time, don't go there. Okay, if it's not for you, but let me explain something to you and you're going to love this. One of the seasons of American Horror Story starts out with the Trump election the night that he wins. Donald Trump wins the election. It's crazy. You're watching a horror show and there's Donald Trump and you're like, wow, this is so weird. I'm watching a horror show and there's Donald Trump on the news and he's winning the election. And they were showing all of the liberals crying. They were all crying, this is actual footage that they're showing on TV in American Horror Story. It's like a documentary at the beginning. It's amazing what they did and how they blended it in with the show, right? And there's this guy. And I think he's got blue hair. He's got blue hair, like electric blue freaking crazy hair. And he's in front of a 73-inch widescreen television watching Donald Trump win the election, and he's got the TV on both sides with his hands, and he's humping the TV set. And he's like, Trump, 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 Trump. And you're like, where are they going to go with this? Where is this going to go? Well, he decides to clean up his act. He's in a gang. He's fucking street gang, right? He's a really bad dude. Decides to clean up his act, put on a three-piece tie, and he runs for local government. Three-piece suit and a tie, and he runs for local government. He wins.
Oh no.
Yeah! And it's crazy. This episode after episode after episode, and they're just killing people the whole time. Yeah, this guy's a straight murderer. Their gangs are murdering people, and all he wants is mayhem in the streets. He wants people to die. He hates the system. He hates America. He hates the federal government. And the reason why he's humping the TV at the beginning is because he was so happy to see the subversion that he knew was going to happen. And they did such a great job with that. It's like they really painted that aspect of Trump derangement syndrome where there were people on that side of it that were just like, look, hey, we understand that, we're like that too. We hate the government too, man. We hate what the fuck they're doing too. But we don't want to see people get hurt in the process of trying to fucking take that down or change it and make it better. We were talking the other day about systems of government. It came up socialism versus social democracy versus capitalism versus communism. And what I said was, I would love to see a democratic socialist country, just like what we have here, where we have more socialist programs brought in, just like we were trying to do in the 80s. We were really working on it. We were meals on wheeling it, man, and more of that, and keep taxing those wealthy people. You make $10 million, everything over $10 million, we're going to tax the hell out of you. That would have been a beautiful thing, and that's what I'd love to see. System of government. What do you see as what do you see as a solution to where we are right now, government-wise?
I guess what I see as a solution and what I see as being feasible are kind of, different.
Forget that. Okay, forget the feasible thing. I mean, you're queen. You are Queen Joy, and you've got a magic wand, bitch. Poof. What would you do? What system would you go with?
What I would love to see that would help people tremendously is housing as a human right, B, healthcare as a human right, C, food as a human right, federal job guarantee. You want a job, you get a job. UBI, but the kind where you get money each month and it does not take away from any social benefits. Um, and, oh my God, so many things. Money out of politics, period. Um, People's Party, not necessarily the People's Party, but a People's Party, so that we actually have transparent elections and elect people who deserve to be elected, elect people who will represent we the people and not corporations. I would love to see big pharma go down. I would love to see big oil go down. A Green New Deal. I mean, like that's like my utopia.
It's good. So
And it would change everyone's lives.
what system would govern all that?
Sorry?
What system would govern all that? The system of government.
Likely social democracy.
Right. Just one that's working better.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
like you've got the vision that I feel so many other people do. It is the populist solution. I mean, if we could, okay, let's talk about something for just a second. All right. Divisive issues. Is it possible to leave them out of politics? I mean, how do you, like a basic human right, like a woman's right to choose what goes on in her body, it's become a political issue. I don't feel that states even have the ability to govern it, because if a state can say no, then it's wrong. So how do you deal with that? We had Roe v. Wade. I thought that did it. I thought we had that. Shouldn't we have that back?
Yeah, I mean that's something I talk about a lot, and I talked about when I was emceeing the DC Medicare for All March. I think so many of these things are about humanity. They're not about politics. And bringing them into politics is why they're divisive. Like at our Medicare for All DC March, we had a Republican Mormon fly in from Utah to talk about how he supports Medicare for All. Like, because it doesn't matter. It's about the issue. This is about humanity. Do you want them to suffer, or do you want them to have, the right to have a better life? That is not political at all. That is, do you have empathy? That is, do you have a heart? That is, are you the part of humanity who actually gives a fuck about other people? So yeah, I mean, in a way, you're absolutely on point. Yeah, things becoming political is why there is that divide, and why things are not as clear as they could be.
So, okay. I'm assuming, and I don't understand history, but I assume that in 1972 Roe v. Wade, I assume that states couldn't, before then, weren't allowed to tell women what to do with their bodies. I don't know. Maybe they were. Maybe that's why we needed Roe v. Wade, because the state was saying you can't have an abortion. Do you know the history behind Roe v. Wade at all? Because I do not.
No, they were allowed to tell women not to have abortions. That's why Roe v. Wade was put into.
How did that happen? When was do you know when the first state was that said your women aren't allowed to have abortions here in the state? I'm trying to get back to the root.
I cannot think of the woman's name, but it was a singular woman who decided to take it to court, and then it went to Supreme Court, and then it kind of moved on. It was one woman who originally took it on.
The reason why I'm saying that is when you get down to the core of it, okay, you go to the day before the first state said, we don't want you to have abortions. We're going to write a law. And the federal government comes and says, you can't write a law like that. Period. And every law that was ever written since that day Boom, erased. And then you can't fuck with it anymore. And if you do, we're going to punish you. We're going to withhold federal funding from you. And if you continue to do it, we're sending in the National Guard and we're going to enforce the law. Cut and dry. That's the solution, Joy. You know, and look, I don't know where you are with firearms because I'll just tell you right now, I'm pro firearms because I'm a cannabis grower. And I put myself out there on the internet every day and I let people know that I got firearms so I can protect myself, my specific situation. That's a divisive issue. Where are you on guns personally?
I have never owned one. I have never touched one, thankfully. But I do, if it's legal, I support your right to have it. I don't the thought of like shootings and stuff like that. But I think that, comparatively speaking, shootings are a fraction of the people who actually have guns. So I feel like if you're, if it's legal and it's responsible, it's really not my place to say anything.
My show has a slogan, no law regarding cannabis, NLRC, right? And I apply that to a lot of things. No law regarding women's rights. No law regarding guns. No law regarding cannabis. No law regarding, there's a few other things this can be applied to, right? And then someone's like, no law regarding a gun. Well, nay, what if someone takes a gun and kills a bunch of people? Oh, well, there's a law regarding killing people. You get the death penalty. Instantly, boom. Oh, you killed somebody? Okay, you're going to death penalty or you're going to prison for the rest of your life. Whatever you support. That's another hot issue. But you give people everything back. You give them their rights back. And, free speech. You could say whatever you want until you're hurting somebody. There's not a law regarding your speech. No law regarding speech. There's a law against you using your speech, though, to hurt somebody else. That's the crime. It's not the speech itself. It's the violence you did to somebody else. And if that can be proven, then you get, the punishment, whatever society feels that should be. I feel like we have over-regulated and legislated ourselves to a point to where it's obsolete. We've made everything law obsolete. We're overdoing it. And if we get back to the basics, like, hey man, you can't hurt somebody, you can't steal. Someone's like, hey, no law regarding cannabis. Well, what if somebody comes into your house and steals your cannabis? Well, there's a law regarding theft. And you're going to give me my cannabis back, and you're going to jail. That's all. It's like, there doesn't have to be laws regarding any of the... Well, nay, what if somebody poisons somebody with cannabis? What if somebody grows cannabis, on somebody else's property? Boom, trespassing. Boom, you're attempted murdering somebody. There's already laws for all of this. I think there is a solution. And the problem is personally, I've had these spurts of clarity, to quote a good friend of the movement, Lee Camp. I've had a few of those moments of clarity where I'm making sense talking about this very thing in different lost parts of my podcasts throughout the years. You're not going to be able to find any of it. But to solidify the message now and figure out that we got to go back to 1937, they passed a law regarding cannabis. It made it illegal. You go back to 1937, no law regarding cannabis, and no more laws regarding cannabis, period. You want to make money with cannabis? Great, go make money with cannabis. Just don't break any other laws. It's fine. Solidifying this idea and getting it written down or whatever into a point where other people can latch on to it maybe, because I think, Joy, that is actually, I'm not looking for anarchy. I'm not looking, I want democratic socialism. But we have over-regulated women's right to choose, and we can start with that one. And if we can have no law regarding that, and a state cannot pass a law regarding it, then we're starting from the right place, I think. And let me tell you why I can do this today. Because I stopped eating sugar like 2 months ago. And when I stopped eating sugar, all of a sudden I'm able to remember things so much better. I'm able to organize my thoughts better. And I realize that's a whole other thing with being poisoned by, hydrogenated oils. Man, oh my goodness, I just watched a thing about vegetable oil yesterday. Have you heard about vegetable oil for cooking?
Yeah.
How horrible it is for you? You know about that?
No, that I did not know.
Yeah, switch to olive oil. Let me tell you. I'll send you a link to the video. You can watch it yourself. It's amazing. I watched it on YouTube, okay? You guys, vegetable oil is a giant scam. I'm going to give you the history really fast. Back in the day, right? When my father's father was on the farm and they had pigs and they had the orange groves and they were cooking in the morning, and my great-grandmother used to use lard for cooking, And do you want to know that when they used lard for cooking back then in the day, no heart attacks. No fucking heart attacks. They didn't even know what a freaking heart attack was, Joy. They didn't even know what heart attacks were. They didn't know what they were. Check this out. Crisco comes along and says, we've got a new shortening. We want everyone to start using this vegetable shortening. And it's way better for you than that fatty lard that you've been using. Guess what started? Heart attacks. The largest uptick this has basically changed humanity, right? Heart attacks, the line of Crisco sales goes right up dead on with heart attacks, even to this day. And now they've got all the science that shows when you're cooking stuff in vegetable oil, you're literally just destroying your body. You're killing yourself. It is crazy. So, I'll get you guys a link to this video. It's so important. I'll put it in the chat. I'll make sure I'll give you guys that video. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Vegetable oil. I didn't know this.
Yeah, I don't use vegetable oil. I do use olive oil.
Olive oil.
That's really...
Olive oil for the win. That's what I use. I've been deep frying in vegetable oil, though, and I'm going to stop. I had deep fried a few times in vegetable oil, definitely. French fries. So I'm sure I could just switch to olive oil. Let me get that link.
We have an air fryer.
Okay, so you love it? You love your air fryer?
My husband's obsessed with it.
Hilarious. What?
We make sweet potato fries.
Okay.
Banging.
And what? Anything else? Anything else with the air fryer that he makes?
He makes like fish in it and stuff like that.
Huh. Okay.
He's
right.
the one to cook. I can't cook for shit.
Oh, really? You're not a cook, huh?
Oh, God, no. Well, first of all, I can't see, so that kind of puts a damper on things. But yeah, no, I can't cook for shit.
I'm looking at the thumbnail of us. You look fantastic, darling. In the thumbnail. I want you to know that.
What's that?
You look fantastic in the thumbnail. It just came up on YouTube of you and I chatting.
Aww.
You look fantastic.
Thank you. I usually am making a really weird expression.
No, it's perfect. You've got like kind of a very serious, but you look good. It's like you look good. You look poised.
I look introspective.
You look poised. I love it. All right, let's find this video about vegetable oil. I can't find it. Supreme Court. Oh, I found it.
And there is a show too. It's a documentary. It's something fungi, but it's like fantastic fungi or something, and it's all about like the medicinal benefits of mushrooms and stuff. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks really fascinating.
Karen says that air fried chicken is great. Because you know that they want... What are you saying, Enoch? Because you know they want... I gave everyone a link to the video for the deep fry video. Because you know that they want the artificial intelligentsia to enforce all laws. And what I will do is I will tweet it at you, Joy.
Okay.
Right now. This video at Savage Joy. That is a long name. You got a long Twitter handle there, girlfriend. Savage Joy Marie, man. Savage. Wait. Why didn't I tweet it? Hold on. Tweet. I'm just going to read your name out. Savage Joy Marie, mostly blind but aware AF. Where's the rest of it?
Yeah.
Where's the rest of it? It won't show me the rest. It's that long of a name that I can't even read the whole thing. I'm gonna have to click on your channel. But aware AF dash man.
Yeah.
With you and Bernie with the laser eyes.
Yes.
So the laser eyes, I thought the laser eyes were a Bitcoin reference. What's the laser eyes? I thought it was crypto.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
never heard that.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Oh.
All the crypto community on Twitter.
I never heard that.
Yeah, like Elon Musk and everybody that says they could foresee what crypto's gonna do. They've got the laser eyes on their Twitter avatars.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh, that's something I want to talk to you about. Well, number one, let me just say this. If you ever get the chance to smoke some cannabis, I think you should try it. Just a little bit. Just a little tiny puff. Since you haven't done that yet. You haven't smoked it yet, right? Yeah.
No.
At some point, you should try smoking it because it's different than eating it. Totally different. Back to what I was saying before was important, and I forgot what I was just saying before. Let's see if you can pick that one up. I can't remember. Before I said you should smoke cannabis sometime. What was I saying? Lovejoy's background, says Enoch. It is cute. I love
What's
it too.
that?
They love your Enoch loves your background.
Oh, thank you. That's when I had someone help me
Bitcoin.
design my for my show, and I wanted 13 o'clock from 1984, so he put that in. And,
Nice. I didn't know. Shame on me for not noticing that. I didn't see that. Oh boy, that's awesome. You know, because I'm a dystopian fan. I'm like King Dystopia. You know?
I could see that.
Yeah. 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 Oh, Doc Holland's here. Hey, what's up, brother? It's always an experiment when eating it. That's my opinion. Ha ha. Yeah, cannabis, when you smoke it, it's doesn't last as long as when you're eating it. It's more like a 45-minute deal. You can vary the intensity of it by how much you smoke and how long you hold it in. Whereas I feel that eating it is a more warm, relaxing feeling. When you smoke it, it's more of a socially enhancer. And I feel that eating is actually the opposite. But it probably wasn't like that because you were around Ron, you know? So you guys were just like, psh, you know?
Yeah.
Shattering that
pretty
buzz.
Outgoing as it is. So.
Yeah. You guys were on the beach. That was awesome, man. Hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So OG's on a tolerance break. There's no such thing as a tolerance break, man. Just hold your hits in longer. People think that if you quit smoking cannabis for a couple of days or whatever, that you'll get more high the next time you smoke it. And it's true, it'll seem that way. But what I let them know is you can get high every time you smoke cannabis if you just hold your hits in. If you do this little breathing thing, breathe your air in and out, and then take a hit, and then breathe a little air in after it. and that'll put oxygen here where your larynx is instead of smoke. And the smoke is down here in your lungs. And all of that smoke just absorbs and absorbs and absorbs and absorbs and absorbs. By the time you blow it out, you're almost seeing things. And if you get up and you walk around or you do something physical, like they say you have to cough to get off. No, you don't have to cough to get off. You just do something physical. You can just like move your arms like this, you know, or just even you can just stand up and sit down a couple times like that, and that'll get your blood going. And it'll go to your brain and you'll get really high. You know, you can really accelerate that. You kind of have control over it, you know, which is kind of cool. You know, if you want to get more high, you can do that. And then you can always smoke more. You know, or you can always.
So if I had my first experience with Ron for edibles, then maybe next time I come out to Cali, we'll have to hang out and I'll have my first smoke experience with you.
That would be fantastic. You guys are always welcome up here. I got a great view from the guest room. You'll love it. Billiards room downstairs, jacuzzi overlooking the mountains.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. You guys are welcome anytime. So we were talking about crypto and Bitcoin when I forgot what I was saying, and somebody in the audience was like, "You guys are talking about Bitcoin." My question to you about Bitcoin was, on Twitter, have you noticed the separation between people on the left and Bitcoiners? Have you seen that? There's like it's almost like a gang.
I've really only seen a lot of like yang gangers talk about Bitcoin. I haven't really seen many of my comrades talk about it.
It's like a gang. It's like a Twitter gang rivalry mentality. And I've seen it. And I've plenty of, you know, I saw somebody I followed yesterday or 2 days ago, a woman, and I clicked on her profile, and in her profile, it said hashtag no Bitcoiners. I'm like, and now let me tell you something. I go into Fred Hampton leftists. Oh, that's something I want to talk to you about too, Fred Hampton himself, as well as the movement. I go into the spaces and I listen to people talking, and literally there will be a leftist group talking about communism versus socialism or something, and there'll be 30 people in there, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of people from Bitcoin will come in there, and they'll start blocking them, and they'll start screaming at them, and they'll start being rude to each other. And I'll be in a Bitcoin, see, because I go into Bitcoin rooms too, because I'm a crypto guy. So I'm a guy on the left that does Bitcoin, right? You know, I'm a guy on the left that does Bitcoin. What can I say? It's just the way it is. And I go into a Bitcoin room and they're like, man, what was up with those people that were talking about communism? And I'm thinking, like, you guys don't even see what's going on. You guys are doing like a whole, it's like West Side Story up in this bitch, you know? And I'm like waiting for the knives to get pulled out, man. I'm waiting for the freaking knife fights, man, because they're like, it's getting to the point where I'm like, there is common ground. I swear to you, and check out what the common ground is, Joy. You're gonna love it. Bitcoin pretty much right now can very much be a giant part of the solution for people to have financial freedom from the federal government. So people that are talking about communism, socialism, putting down capitalism, which is fine, and I totally understand it, they're kind of missing out on the fact that if you disregard crypto and blockchain and Bitcoin right now, it's actually a way to get your money out of the banks. And it literally is. Listen, I kept a lot of money in the bank. I used several banks. And I took all of my money out of my banks because I was getting 0.3% interest on my money. And I moved it into crypto. And right now, BlockFi's got this thing where if you move your USD into BlockFi. They'll give you 8.8% on your cash just for sitting. You don't even have to buy crypto. You're just opening up it's like a checking account, right? Or it's a savings account, basically. Put your money in BlockFi, and they'll give you that. So Celsius is offering 14% on a crypto called Synthetics. So I just took a whole bunch of some crypto that I had, and I bought some Synthetics, and I put it in there, and now of interest on that within Celsius. It's giving me the financial freedom. My buddy Dino, and I think that was who was calling me before on the phone. But Jackson Hinkle was trolling them, grabbed his flag, and at the end of his podcast was literally standing up. It was so funny, waving the flag back and forth, singing, "Oh, say, can you see?" And I was like, I've turned it off. I was like, I mean, it was cute and funny, but I can't even watch it as a joke. I can't even watch that shit. And I don't know who it was, and I don't know what it was, but he's back on the flag crack, and I don't know who spurned it, because I wasn't really paying attention, but it's freaking hilarious. I just like the drama. I like trying to keep up with it a little bit, It's like a soap opera. He's a freaking soap opera.
Well, my confusion with him, which I publicly asked him about, was he calls himself a patriot.
That's another thing.
And I don't understand that.
Exactly.
Because when you look up the definition, that's not leftist.
You're willing to go to war for your you're willing to fight for your country. That's a patriot. That's what it is. You're a soldier in the United States military. That's a patriot. If you're not there,
like if you're against the government, like you say you are, why would you call yourself a patriot?
Because he's confused about that.
I mean, when I hear the word patriot and when I see the American flag, I think Trump. Immediately, I think Trump. I just do.
Before Donald Trump.
I'm the only one.
Before Donald Trump. The American flag, I'll tell you when it bothered me, Joy, and you're going to get it. It was when, after the age of, it was around the time of George Bush, and they started wearing those fucking flag pins on their lapels.
Oh, yeah.
And did you notice they started getting higher and higher and higher? I'm like, hey, man, why don't you just fucking have it tattooed on your freaking forehead, man? It's like, you could put that flag, like, and it was mostly people on the right that were doing it, but, they all do it. They're all wearing their stupid American flag. And I was like, that's the last thing. It was just, we're going to war. We're imperialists. It's just so hypocritical. And I've got this whole thing about flags being separatist. And I was on this before even Donald Trump. And then when Donald Trump grabbed that American flag on stage and started kissing it, he put his hands around it and started kissing it. And I was like, if that's not going to repulse his audience, then he might as well just blow that person away on Fifth Avenue on fucking national TV and on the internet, man, and make a spectacle of it every week because his audience just loves it. It is Idiocracy. You saw the movie Idiocracy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the audience just loves him, man. Just loves him.
See, that's what I don't understand. I went on Twitter and I did a poll and I said, can you be a leftist and call yourself a patriot? And like 92% of people were like, hell no.
No. You can't. If you understand the word patriot. Look, you can love America. I love America. And you can be a leftist. But if you call yourself a patriot, then you should go look up the definition and find out that it's someone who's willing to go to war. And I'm not willing to go to war. In fact, war is the reason why we have every freaking problem that we have today. You realize if it wasn't for the banning of cannabis in 1937 and war, that we'd probably have an additional 1,000 years of humanity. Whenever the point is the last human is standing on this earth, we'd probably have another 5,000 years of time. We'd go extinct 5,000 years later because of what our war machine has done to CO2 and climate, and cannabis has done the exact same thing. Not having hemp growing everywhere and instead doing cutting down forests and burning coal and fossil fuels and drilling for gas and oil and opening up these holes in the ground and having methane pouring out and having oil pouring out into the ocean, having oil pour out onto the center of the continent. And, you know, I asked a climate scientist, his name is Dr. Guy McPherson. He's wonderful. Check him out, Dr. Guy McPherson. Okay, he's got a channel on YouTube called Nature Bats Last. Nature Bats Last. It's fantastic. Check him out. I said to him, do you think that oil is the lubricant inside the planet that keeps us from like totally cracking apart from earthquakes? And he said no. He's like, I don't think so at all. I was like, really? I just kind of thought oil is like a lubrication. He totally disagreed with me and shot me down. But he's there for you if you have a climate question like that. You can email him and he will email you back within minutes if you have a silly question like that. You know?
Awesome.
Yes.
I'll have to check him out.
Oh, you're going to love him. He keeps it so real. He went off grid for a few years because he said this is the way we all have to live. And he said he couldn't handle it. He didn't want to slaughter animals. He said, I'm just going to go out with the rest of the planet. He checked it out and he just said, it's not for me. For me, I'm like, I'm off grid. I want to can vegetables and grow my own cannabis. And I am off grid and I'm going to learn to live like this. But he didn't see that this was an alternative. If you think you have to raise sheep or cattle, you know, or slaughter chickens to survive, I'm telling you, there's eggs, there's canning vegetables, and you can make it through. There's potatoes. You can do this. There's rice. You can do this. There's so many tricks to learn about, you know, what do we do if we want it to collapse? What do we do if it collapses? What do we do when the 7-Eleven and the Albertsons and the Goodings and the Piggly Wiggly shut down the street? What do we do when Amazon can no longer bring you breakfast cereal, you know? What do we do? Where's your water come from? You know, is it coming through a city water? Is it coming through, or do you have your own well? Things to consider, you know? I've got my own well up here. So if something goes wrong, I always got my water, you know? There's a huge fire and PG&E. Oh my goodness, there's so many things. Joy, I'm going to have you on here like all the time, like Ron does, at least once a month. I want to talk to you about everything. There's so many things I want to talk about.
I'm okay with that.
Oh my God. I want to talk to you about PG&E. They're the power company out here in California, and they're responsible for 88...
Well, we have them in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay,
well.
good. Well, they're evil. They're responsible for the deaths in a fire out here a couple of years ago. And now they're getting investigated for the Dixie Fire, the second largest fire in the state of California. Nice, huh? And you want to know why, Joy? It's because they had the money to take they act like they don't know what to do. Oh, we don't know what to do with the power cables. What do we do with the power cables? What do we do? The trees keep growing over them. The trees keep growing over them. Hey, bees, the trees keep growing over the power cables. We don't know what to do. You bury the power cables underground. Problem solved. No more fires in the state of California, or at least you can deal with it a lot better. But they rather take that extra money that they should be increasing their infrastructure like anyone does, like any company or business does, and giving it to their shareholders, paying dividends, and they're responsible for the state burning year-round. This new court case is going to be very interesting because they spend all of this money. They charge us all kinds of, now not me anymore because I make my own power now, but they charge these people so much money, and they take a lot of that money, millions and millions of dollars, and they do these ad campaigns all over the newspapers, all over ads on local television, national ads, CNN. You'll be watching MSNBC and you will literally see a national PG&E commercial. PG&E is making strides in fire prevention and bringing you new ways of power. And you're like, you're spending your money that you should be burying those power cables to tell me how great you are, and you're murdering people.
Absolutely.
I just, I don't know. Who?
I digress, but let me see that puppy.
Okay, he's drinking water when he comes in here. no recourse.
Oh.
You know, it just feels like we have no recourse, Joy, when we see things like this.
No.
There's no more. Do you remember, was his name James Watts? Was that the guy who prosecuted Bill Clinton when he got caught in the Oval Office? Was it James Watts? Was he the special prosecutor? We don't. Oh.
No.
We don't have special prosecutors anymore. It's like, why don't they prosecute people anymore? You know, it's because they're all so busy running for judgeships now. All the lawyers are busy running for judgeships. They don't want to. They don't want to prosecute. They just want to make legislation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rogie.
Absolutely.
Rogie, come here. Someone wants to say hi to you. Oh my God. Why you beesling? If I tell him I got a big stick in here, he'll come in here. There's a big stick in here, buddy. Rogie, I got to get you past. Look, this is this year's harvest. The cannabis right there in those bins.
Wow.
Here he comes. Bees.
Hi, baby.
Rogan.
Aww.
Rogan, who's the cutest bees?
Hi, baby. Oh. Hi, buddy.
He's responding to you.
Oh,
Yep.
you give me sideways head.
Oh yeah, he'll give you sideways head.
Sideways head.
He likes your squeaky voice. Do it's more squeaky. More squeaky. Try to be more squeaky.
Hi. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. Oh my God, that face.
It is.
You are so stinking cute.
He is the cutest freaking thing. At that big head. This head. Okay, he weighs like six. He weighs 65 pounds, and his head weighs 60.
Wow. I can't believe he weighs that much. He doesn't look it.
Yeah, 65. If come here, can I pick you up? Come here, buddy, boy. Ooh, here we go. Oh. Ooh.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh my God, he didn't look that big. Oh, hi, buddy.
You ain't no. Look, I'm in my Elvis stance. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
Aw.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog. I love my bees. I love my bees.
Aw. I have an 8-pound Pomeranian.
Oh, my sister used to have a Pomeranian. Oh, love Pomeranians. They got so much attitude. Oh, I love them.
Yeah,
With
she
their little
does. Her name is Duchess, so...
Oh, yeah, I love it. Great, Duchess. I love that name. She's got little paws when she walks. It's like dee 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 dee. I'd like to hear them on like
yeah,
like a
tippy tap.
Oh, on a wood floor. Oh, that's the greatest. Tap dance for me, puppy. So, do you have a cat too, or just a dog?
No, just Duchess. There's no way she would let us have another animal.
Oh.
There's no way.
Oh. Well, he moved in here. I'd already had a cat. I'd already had a cat for 8 years when he moved in. So he was this big.
Oh, so he already knew.
Yeah, he was this big, and the cat was huge for him. And watching that thing, that change happen, and, you know, the cat was really sweet with him when he was a puppy, and he got aggressive before he could really, with the cat, before he could really do anything, and the cat would just smack him and knock him over. Oh my God, it was so cute. And now Rogan will walk up to my cat. My cat's name is Harley. And he'll walk up to the cat, and he'll just put his paw on his tail just to incite him just a little bit.
Oh.
And the cat will go, and like get all mad at him, and he'll back away a little bit, and then the cat will stand up, and they'll just go at it. And it is the cute. They fight so cute, and they wrestle, and Rogie will he'll let the cat throw him down, and he'll fall over on his side. And, oh, it's like, oh my God.
Aww.
Yeah, he plays really fair. You play really fair, don't you, with your kitty cat? And check this out, Joy. He's always been black and white with these two little brindle patches on his shoulders. His whole sides are turning brindle now. Gorgeous in the sunlight.
Aww.
Oh, it's like this amber, beautiful coloring that he's starting to get as he ages. Oh, like a fine wine. Yeah, bees. Like a fine cannabis, I should say.
Has he ever gotten into any?
He likes the cannabis leaves. And my friend Mark was over here not too long ago, and there was a bud on the floor or something, and Mark goes, he doesn't like bud, huh? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, he picked that bud up and he spit it out. I'm like, really? That's good, because I don't want him getting high. It's uncomfortable when a dog, uses too much cannabis. He gets too much cannabis in his system. It happened to my dog Roscoe once. I over medicated him, and they walk funny, they're dizzy,
Yeah,
and it's you don't want to see that. So he can eat as much leaf as he wants, and it doesn't seem to affect him. Hey, guess who's here? Independent Left News.
hi, Indy.
Nice. Hi, Indy. Enoch says, I spy a measle. So here you go. There's the cat right there. The cat and the dog are laying together now. I don't know if you can see them both back here. Harley and Rogie.
I can't. That's sweet.
I can zoom it in for you. Here, watch this. I'm an expert at this. What do you think?
Oh,
yeah. Oh,
that's so sweet.
There, the cat's looking over at the dog.
Aww.
Hey, Harl. Oh, Harl's just getting up. Let's see what he does.
Oh.
We've got some activity over here. We got some action. So.
Now I feel like I need to go get Duchess.
Yeah. Please.
Okay.
Yeah. Rogie loves other dogs. I told you guys we're just hanging out. We're just gonna hang out. Isn't it great? We're just hanging out, man.
Duchess was requested.
We should call it Hanging Out with Joy.
Here she is.
Oh my, she looks like a little fox. Oh my God. Oh, you're a little foxy. Oh.
Say hi.
Oh my God.
Hi, baby.
She's even got a little foxy tongue. Duchess. Duchess, you're a good girl, Duchess. Why are you a good girl, Duchess? Duchess. You're a good girl. Duchess. Duchess. Look at Rogie. Duchess. You're a good girl.
Oh.
Duchess.
Oh.
Duchess.
Sideways head.
Duchess. There he goes. And he's off. He's like, oh, there's a Duchess here? I must meet her. I must meet her now.
Oh.
He's running around looking for her. Oh my God. Where's my Duchess? Billy, find Duchess. Where is she? I've lost sight of her. Okay, so.
Hi.
Are you, have I ever done my Alex Jones impersonation for you?
Your what?
Alex Jones impersonation?
No.
You know who Alex Jones is? Huh. Do you know who Alex Jones was?
Of course.
Oh, you know who you know who Alex Jones was? Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Who Alex Jones was?
Yeah.
So, Rogie's like, I want to go outside. Rogie, you want to go outside and see if there's nobody out there? So, I will only snort half a line of Super Male Vitality in the morning because it is so ultra potent. And you're going to want to go to my website, prisonplanet.com. We've got some of the finest water filtration systems that you're ever going to find. Now, in the morning when I am snorting only half a line of ultra potent Super Male Vitality, I will start renovating the kitchen. The bathroom. 4 seconds, tops. I go back and I snort that other half of an ultra potent line of super potent, I can't even fucking I usually I could go on and on and on, but that one was just I was doing too much ultra. I said the word ultra too many times.
Can only do like 2 impressions. One of them is Kamala because she's like, okay, yeah, let's get okay. It's kind of like a mixture of Kamala and Pelosi, and then the other impression
drunk Losi,
is
drunk Losi.
put the lotion in a basket. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
Who's that? Who is that?
Buffalo Bill.
Oh, it puts the lotion on its skin. Oh, it gets the hose again. Yes, I love it. Buffalo Bill.
Gets the hose again. That's all I got.
I can't believe I didn't. You were just saying it so distorted I couldn't make it out. I should have got that one, man. God. I should have listened. I feel like when Graham and Ron are doing, you should have known. You should have known this. I feel like, man, I should have known this, man. My audience is going to be so Nay, how did you not know that was Buffalo Bill? You say, it puts the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose again. You say that all the time, bro.
Are Graham and Ron in the comments?
Oh, geez, I wish. I don't think they've ever come
I was just on Graham's the other day.
I don't think they've ever come to my show before, ever, and said anything in a comment.
Oh, really? I don't think they watch a lot of shows, to be quite honest.
No, Ron literally says, I watch no podcasts at all. And I was like, you really should find a little time to do that. Just make a little time. And I'll tell you what, man, some of my catch-up time, I use a Bluetooth speaker while I'm taking a shower. And I'm able to, usually in the morning, I listen to Lark Davis, I listen to Jimmy Dore, and I'll check out Carl the Moon, who's a crypto guru guy, and I'll listen to a Lee Camp video, or a Forbes. Sometimes I'll listen to a Forbes magazine excerpt from something in Congress. If there's people speaking in Congress, I've been starting to listen to that a lot lately, because Joy, I used to listen to that and all I heard was blah 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 blah. They were using words that it's almost like they were out of my vocabulary, or I was just being lazy. And I swear, since I stopped eating sugar, and I listen to people speak in Congress now, and I know every fucking word, and I understand what they're saying, and I latch on to things they're saying. And if I don't understand a word, I just go look it up really quick, and I just educate myself on it. But listening to people speak in Congress has helped me out a lot. I gotta tell you, I have no respect for that guy who put his fist up at the January 6th event to eat. He put his fist. He's a congressman. I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head. God bless America. But you've seen memes of him, and he's got a swastika around that arm. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that.
What's his... do you know the guy I'm talking about? Do you know the...
I know exactly who you're talking about, yeah.
But we can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name.
It's weird that I can't think of his name. But anyway, when I listen to him speak, this is the thing. Just like what you're talking about, When you listen to people speak that you disagree with, you get a lot more out of life when you learn to listen to people that you disagree with, right? When I listen to him speak, that motherfucker speaks beautifully. He asks really hard fucking questions to the people that he's grilling. Now, he's a douchebag, and I fucking hate him, and I'd like to spit on him. But I didn't notice that at some point, the guy actually learned something in his life. He didn't learn, right from fucking wrong, which would have been nice, but he did learn how to speak beautifully. And I can take that away from it, at least, because I can listen to him, and very often he's grilling an appointee from Joe Biden, and he's 100% right, and I agree with everything he's fucking saying. I'm like, I hate this guy. I fucking hate him. But God bless America, he's right about this appointee, and I can't believe that this lady used to put spikes in trees. Did you hear about that? They used to spike trees. Do you know about that?
Yes, yes. That's,
Freaking
I can't
crazy.
believe
It's
that.
fucking psychotic. It's like, imagine if your grandfather
It
was a miller that used to mill trees, and one of those spikes flew out on a it's a nightmare. If you ever seen a blade come off a sawmill, I have, because I own one. My blade's 97 inches long, and it's a band. So it's like one razor blade that just keeps going for 97 inches with teeth on it. And when that thing flies off, there's no telling what's going to happen if you're not protected. And putting something in there like a piece of steel that's going to fly out, you're creating a hand grenade. And this woman thought that she'd make a great Biden appointee, judge for a judgeship. And I was like, well, you used to risk people's lives. And the listening to the arguments going back and forth in Congress, it was really interesting, because all these guys I freaking hated, they're all Republicans who I freaking couldn't stand. They were all making sense about it. They all had data. They had all looked up the history on spiking, and they were really holding that person's feet to the fire over that judgeship. At the same time, I never forget my allegiance to what's right. I never forget that. When I listen to someone, I'm not going to go listen to freaking Adolf Hitler like Donald Trump does. I do have a line where I'm going to draw in and say, yeah, I'm not going to listen to that. I don't have to hear that. I don't have to. Whatever made that person what they are, I don't care. I don't need to learn about that. What I need to learn from are when someone is speaking and they're saying something that just makes total sense to me, and I agree with it. I'm not saying it's an echo chamber, but I'm saying it's not an echo chamber because I disagree with them fundamentally on even their very existence, who you are as a person. It doesn't make sense to me. The greed, I've got my mouse on you. Yeah, I've got my mouse on you. I'm sorry, I had to move my mouse. The greed, the blindness to what you have become, it's like another language for me, and I just can't comprehend that.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is delivery. You're right. I remember in 2016 when Tim Kaine, Hillary's VP choice, excuse me, was debating. I lasted 2 hours.
It's okay. You're real cute. You're real cute when you sneeze.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
When was debating, Tim Kaine, and Tim Kaine interrupted him 76 times. He was totally unhinged. It was ridiculous. He was like, and he was getting like so flustered. And Mike Pence is the big, huge piece of shit, but he held it together. He spoke properly. He spoke professionally. And it's like, you know what? Like, you are letting this dude dog walk you right now because you are supposedly the better person, but you cannot handle yourself as a grown-up and as a professional. So it really is delivery a lot. So I totally understand what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, it sucks when I think about how much I hate some of these people. Like, I would never listen to someone like Kristen Sinema speak or listen to someone like Joe Manchin speak. And let me tell you something that I saw on Twitter yesterday with Joe Manchin, and it actually gave me hope. Joe Manchin was walking to his office, and he was being surrounded by people.
I saw that.
Did you see the girl jump in front of him with her cell phone, getting a video of him, and she fell over backwards? And that...
Yeah, and then he helped her up.
It was visceral. It was another human being. He didn't have to think, I'm on camera, I have to play act. It was, you could tell, it was like his own daughter had fallen down in front of him. He really does care about people. He's just going about it the wrong way. I love the fact that he proves to the squad how much power they could have had.
That's a good point. He does. Him and Kristen Sinema both have proved to the squad this is, if you had a backbone and you stuck up for what you said you were going to, this could be you guys. making a difference. But instead, it's them making a difference in all the wrong ways. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing about Republicans too. Like, Republicans suck, but there's one thing they do well. They have solidarity. We don't have that. Like, Republicans have each other's back regardless. And and the Dems just don't. So, people are loyal to the Dems, but the Dems are not loyal to each other. So it's very divisive all the time, whereas Republicans, they have each other's backs 24/7.
They're willing to look the other way. Republicans are willing to look the other way when their party's really doing weird shit. Like cue balling and shit.
Mm-hmm. I can't see the comments. Are people digging what we're saying, or are they like, fuck you?
No one's like, fuck you. They know better.
I get worse. Doesn't bother me.
No, my audience is very respectful. I demand it of my audience, and I will block anybody talking shit instantly. I just don't have time for it. That's why my audience is so small. But I'd rather talk to a small group of people that are willing to listen to me and that are going to be respectful than a large group of people that are going to scroll the comments and say rude things, because the people that really are getting something out of this, they literally will leave when they see people abusing me. They don't like to see that, because I'll abuse them back, and it just becomes like it's an ugly display for them, and it's uncomfortable, and that's not why sometimes it's not why you're going on a podcast. You don't want to watch people fight and argue. Nick Brown just said respect goes a long way. Dave Sea Fishing said they're willing to sell out. Talking about people, yeah, I mean, let's go back to the whole Republican versus Democrat thing for 1 second. I just want to make a point really fast. Making both sides see themselves for what they are is the absolute most important thing we could ever do as independents. Holding that mirror up for them so they can see, looking at something that the one side does, and showing them that they're the exact guilty of the exact same thing. Showing them that hypocrisy, and showing them how, let them listen to George Carlin over and over and over again until that thing from like 1997 or whenever he said that, until it finally sinks in. It's these two parties are just part of a system that is profiting off of us and not giving us what we really, really need. And when we'll see, and I think Republicans are getting more out of the side of their deal than Democrats do. When Donald Trump got into office, he started pushing a bunch of legislation. When Joe Biden got into office, he said nothing fundamentally will change. Donald Trump said, I'm going to get in there and subvert Washington. I'm going to change everything. People wanted that change. And it's really hard unless the left, and I should just say the Democrats, unless the Democrats realize that they have to serve that up on a silver platter. And what the thing that gets me is, why isn't Jimmy Dore an aide for Joe Biden? Why isn't Lee Camp working in the federal government? Making recommendations, or just someone that they call upon for advice as an advisor. I don't understand or even, please, why can't they just reference Bernie Sanders? He's there already. Give him a position where, you get advice from him and you follow his advice, and stop being so scared of a freaking word. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I think there's something very daunting about having someone there who's not going to jerk you off all day. I mean, it's very You know, why would you want someone there who's going to tell you what you're doing is wrong when you can have someone just licking your boots all day and praising you and saying how amazing you
We
are?
remind them somehow, and I don't know how, but we remind them the very first day they said, I want to become a politician so I can change what's bad in the world. And I don't know how you do that. You write an essay. You know, I am a politician, and that's what it says. When I started, I became a politician because I saw bad and I wanted to make it good. And now I realize I've become a politician, and all I'm doing is trying to sustain my position. And the only way I can do that is by not giving people anything that they want, because my money is coming from industries that profit off of evil on every level. And that is how they design their own systems. Every single one of them has designed their own system so that it has to be more evil so that they can you know, someone came in yesterday, we had an argument, this guy Sweet Lou, or 2 days ago, and he said, I think it was Sweet Lou, somebody said capitalism requires war to exist. And I said, it took me a while, Joy, but you'd be proud of me. We worked through it. I was like, Switzerland, capitalist, no war. Not since 1847. Capitalism does not require war. I said, it often results in war. And yes, war is a result of capitalism. And it shouldn't be. That's why you bring in Bernie Sanders as an advisor who's anti-war. And you let him start explaining to you what you can accomplish if you stop doing war and you stop doing imperialism. And boy, oh boy, let's try that. Let's try setting an example instead of enforcing the example. Let's try setting the example. You know, we used to do that. I don't know. Maybe America never did that. Maybe we never actually really set a good example for anybody. But we should start.
Yeah, that sounds practically utopian compared to where we are now. That's for sure.
Well, I like to listen to Lee Camp. And I feel like his head is in the same spot as almost every other person, and it doesn't matter from what direction on the left somebody's coming from. It's like if I said, hey, listen to this Lee Camp thing and tell me what you think. I think they'd be like, yeah, man, I see that. I totally agree with what that guy's saying. He inspires me, and he goes out and he speaks. And when I asked Lee Camp, I was like, do you see a figure, Crystal? I like to ask everyone this. Who do you see taking a leadership position on the left and guiding us through this like a person? And he's like, hello? He said that on my podcast. He was like, you see what I do? I'm like, so you're Neo. You're the one. You're the one that people should follow and get behind. I can get behind you. I totally could get behind Lee Camp. I mean, if you want my support in that way, well, that's what we need. We need a leader. We need somebody to take the reins. Hey, man, Lee Camp and I might not agree on some things, but you know what? I can't think of any of those things at all. I can't think of a single thing. I think the only time that I ever called Lee Camp out on my show, and I've done it before, you can go back and look it up, was I said he can improve his timing with his punchlines on his stand-up. And I said he doubles and triples and quadruples down when I think he should move on to the next thing. I'm like critiquing him, you know? What the fuck did I know? I was stupid. You know, I saw Lee Camp stand up. He's fucking phenomenal now. His shit is so funny and it's so well written. And even on his podcasts, he doesn't triple and quadruple down like he used to. He was doing it a lot on his podcasts too. He's like, he'd do like theme based bits, right? And then he'd go back to it later on in the podcast. And you're like, yeah, it was funny 5 minutes ago, bro. It's not funny anymore. And it's like he became conscious of that. And he's more aggressive with the way he presents his material. And now I can't critique him anymore. For years, I haven't been able to critique him at all. And I've never been able to critique him on his message.
I've done a bunch of shows with Lee, and I've met him in person a number of times, and Unfortunately, every time I end up talking to him, introducing him, interviewing him, I always end up saying something about how hot he is, and it just does not fail. I'm just like, oh, all the girls are gonna come by and be like, ooh, he's so sexy. Like, I always end up saying something embarrassing about him being hot. And then he blushes, and then everything's awkward.
That's so funny. No way. It's never awkward with Lee. Never. And never awkward with you. Let me ask you this. So, did you see him in Law and Order?
Him in what?
Did you see him in Law and Order?
He was on Law and Order?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Lee Camp.
And
Law and Order.
I looked it up and I found the clip. And what the beautiful thing is when you look up the clip from that episode, the thumbnail for the video shows Lee Camp in the thumbnail for the CSI Law and Order, whatever it was. It shows you see Lee Camp in the thumbnail on YouTube, which is so cool.
God.
Because he's not.
When was it from?
It's a bit part. I mean, how long ago? It was before he had hair on his face.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Jenks' appearance in a Lifetime movie?
No.
Yeah, he was in a Lifetime movie maybe like 5 years ago.
5 years ago? Really? That wasn't that long ago.
No, it was while they were famous and everything. It was quite recent, considering.
What was the character?
Yeah, it was a Lifetime movie. It's called like From Straight Ace to Triple X.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, he was in that.
What?
Did you know that Brother Cornell is in the first Matrix?
Is that one of the? Who is that? Is that a guy from one of your podcasts?
Cornell West.
Oh, Brother Cornell. I thought you said Carnell.
Yeah, he's in the first Matrix.
Well, as like when they're showing like a news interview really quick, and there's like a news clip, and they're like interviewing him.
No, he's like in it.
He's a character.
Yeah.
Wait, what's he? Do you know what he does?
I forget what he plays, but what's that?
I'm wondering what character he plays. I'm trying to think because I think
it's like a bishop or something.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't see him. I just recalled the entire movie in my high-speed data brain. Zip. It's sugar-free now, and I didn't see him in there, so I'm gonna have to go watch the whole freaking movie now because it's a great movie. I love that movie. I've got it on DVD. I will watch it.
They're coming out with a new one, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, it's like anything else. It all depends on how they decide to manipulate the characters. It's like what they did with Star Wars was a freaking crime. I like to watch now these movie-based podcasters where they talk about plot, characters, and franchises. And I saw one on Star Wars, and I haven't watched the latest Star Wars things. I saw a few, but not a lot. And he was talking about Han Solo and how they decided to take the character out. And he was like, "You don't do that." He's like, "What they did with Star Wars was completely wrong." And I'm like, I never really thought about it like that. It's like you do what you want to do with the fucking story, I mean, I guess you kill off people, whatever the fuck. I mean, yeah, I love Han Solo too. But he's like your favorite guy in the whole fucking movie, right? He's like the real hero the whole time. He's like the rated R guy. You don't know what he's going to fucking do. He's the cool guy, and you're totally rooting for him the whole time. You don't want that guy to die. But, sometimes you kill someone like that off for the shock value. It's like a Breaking Bad thing or whatever the fuck. You do what you want. It's your story. I didn't even question it. Then I watched this podcast and they talking about what they did to the character, how they did it, and what they did to the audience. And I was like, dude, there's really something to that. You know, you do have a responsibility to your audience, even when you're writing fiction. And it's almost as if in today's world, you are showing that you're willing to disrespect your own audience, even from a Hollywood standpoint, just as the way Donald Trump was willing to disrespect people and lie. And personally, you know, Barack Obama lied and dropped a lot of bombs. And then Joe Biden comes in and lies, and we're just used to it. And when people on the right are saying Joe Biden lied, and we're like, ha ha, really? Oh my God, isn't that the funniest thing though, Joy? When someone says Joe Biden lied, don't you just laugh and laugh and laugh? Don't you just, after 4 years of Donald Trump, a Trump supporter's really gonna say that Joe Biden lied? You're like, you can't say that. You can't do that. You can't do that. We're gonna laugh at you. We're gonna laugh at you. Yeah, okay, he lied. I mean, what? Did he lie once this week? And what, twice last week? Okay. You know, fucking, where would he get up to? 20,000 lies in his 4 years? Donald Trump, 20,000 lies? Something like that? I can't remember what the number was. Can you imagine being president of the United States telling 20,000 lies? That's what Donald Trump did. He told 20,000. They should have a book called 20,000 Lies, and the book should just be every lie, just end to end, you know, a quote, Donald Trump, every single quote, every single freaking lie. It'd be like a Bible. 20,000 lies. Dude, will someone Google that for me? I'll do this to my audience. Okay, Google. How many lies did Donald Trump tell during his entire presidency? All of their Googles go off.
You could write that. It would be a bestseller.
It's already written, I'm sure. Let's see. It is 30,573.
You looked it up? That's what it does?
Shit. You know, my friend was calling because he needed financial help with his dog. He needs a deposit at the vet.
Aww.
I should have freaking taken that call, but that's okay. I just texted him back, and you know, they're supposed to call me every time when they needed money. I called the vet. I said, I got all the expenses on this. They're like, okay, we got your number. Maybe they tried to call me. I get so many freaking of these prank calls all day. I'll have to look into that, man. It's too. I'm sure they're closed now. And what is today? Of course, it's the end. Oh, it's the end of the day on Friday. Great. Let me try to call him. This is kind of an emergency. I just want to make sure everything's handled. And the call is not going through. Wow. I'm not surprised. Okay. So, Abraham Alvarez says it's basically John Wick 4. Did you watch John Wick with Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
Oh, you're a badass. Then you're a badass. Okay. Well, if you watch John Wick, then you can watch American Horror Story. That one. Now, look. Don't watch all of American Horror Story. Seriously, girl.
Yeah.
Look. But you could watch that one. You can watch that one. The one season, which is it's called. I think it's called Election 2020. Is the name of that. So you'll find it. It'll be worth watching. But I'll just tell you.
In 5 Nightmares is on you.
The most horrifying thing is 2 people. I'll just tell you right now. 2 people get locked up in coffins. They get locked in coffins and they don't get found until they're like rotten. It's horrible. It's freaking horrible scene. So if you're prepared for that mentally, that was the most horrible thing in that whole episode. And if you watch John Wick, John Wick is headshotting guys like times 80. So, I think you're fine. I think you're fine with that level of violence in that one. But listen, American Horror Story, oh my God, man, they pushed the envelope. Man, some of those seasons are so bad where you're like, can they actually do this? Can they show this level of violence on? Oh my God, it's so shocking. You think you're watching a Netflix seasonal, what do they call those? It's like what do they call that?
Like a mini-series?
Yeah, a mini-series, a Netflix series. It's not going to be that bad. It couldn't be that violent. Dude, it's the most violent thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was amazing. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is like the most awesome thing I've ever seen. I can't believe
it. Was bloody and gross. It was amazing.
It was beyond anything I'd ever imagined a horror movie could display. I was like so shocked. I was like, wow, man, they're really pushing the envelope here, folks. By the time you get to the season with which is, election 2020, you're like so like numb from all the other violence. It's like they've numbed you, and you go into that season, you're like, oh, this one's, it's bad, but it's nothing like some of the other graphic violence. I mean, it's graphic violence. It's hard to even talk about. So 30,537 lies. That could be the name of the book. 30,000. Imagine.
Nice. Well, by the time you publish it, it would change, so.
Well, no, I think it was just during his presidency. Oh, well, what you're saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but you know what? Basically, he's probably going to be president again. I mean, let's just go there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I hope he goes to jail first.
I don't see that happening. Oh, no. Politicians and rich people get away with everything, so.
We could start our own.
I don't know.
We could start our own private prison, Joy. We could call it Nay and Joy's place.
Ooh. Yeah.
We could join the private prison system industry. Oh goodness. When you think about the fact that Alex Jones named his website Prison Planet, you gotta realize that he was onto something with that, but then he veered far off the course. He drank the Kool-Aid. But when he started, have you ever seen Alex Jones prior to his internet success, when he was a reporter
I saw some clips, yeah.
Oh, you saw him doing reporting when he was younger? Like he was a leftist, basically. I mean, he was pro-cannabis. He was anti industrialization. He was against what this one politician was doing. He did this expose. It was amazing. He did this expose where this council member in his county, I guess, was voting to have people penalized for having unkempt yards. And he goes and he does a report from their yard, and it's all unkempt, and there's like cars out in front, and this council member's house, and there's like boats and trailers, and there's like all this overgrowth, and he's like, well, how come you're doing that when your house looks like this? And I'm like, Alex Jones, young Alex Jones, not only was he fighting for the people, but he actually looked good. You can't even imagine, the guy was actually a good-looking guy. That's the most shocking thing about Alex Jones, is that there was a time when he actually looked good, man. He was like a news reporter on TV. He's a TV guy. It was kind of funny. Shocking. And where it's all gone today with that guy, Oh, it's just sad, man. There's some kind of a psychosis. It's not just him, like we were talking before. It's everywhere. A lot of people just seem to be suffering. And I wonder if it's dietary. Like I was talking about oils, hydrogenated oils, sugar. I wonder if there is a mass amount of misperceived reality because of the amount of sugar and oils, vegetable oils that we're putting in our body. And by the way, I did tweet that at you.
I mean, I think that's totally feasible. And, Marianne Williamson talks about that a lot.
I love her. And let me tell you something. I didn't used to love her. I used to call her crazy quack lady. I used to say, she's one of those, we're all on the same vibration. We're feeling the love. And then I fucking listened to her speak one day. And then I was like, damn. I mean, damn. She's really got it together. I might disagree with her on some things, but wow, does she make a lot of sense.
She is the reason I have my blind accessibility equipment.
Really?
It's because of her. Yeah, not only did she donate, she also did a fundraiser for me.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, she's a very dear friend.
Wow.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Well, tell her there's some crazy guy on a mountain that does podcasting, that smokes cannabis, that's got a crush on her. She's amazing.
I mean, she's hot. She's
freaking hot.
We've met in person, and she's hot.
Yeah, she's hot.
She's a total babe.
It's like Susan Sarandon. It's like Susan Sarandon. Come on. I mean, she's always going to be hot.
Yeah, I'm not even into chicks, but she's hot. Yeah. I mean, she's 74, and she's hot as hell. That's bananas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know beauty when I see it.
I can acknowledge when a chick is hot.
Me too. Exactly. She is, what I heard her speaking about was the system that we're in, the political system that we're in today. She was basically saying the exact same thing that George Carlin was saying, but she was saying it at a different level where she has a much better understanding of the inner workings of what's going on behind the scenes. And she's exposing it all,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. So does she have anything going on recently? Like, is she speaking?
She does have a podcast.
I didn't know that.
She was my oh my god, I can't even think of the word. Keynote speaker at my DC Medicare for All March. And that was the best speech I've ever heard her give, ever. She fucking nailed it. Nice. It was amazing. But yeah, she's not doing anything politically per se, at this point, except for her podcast. But yeah, I mean, we don't agree all the time, but I know her as a person, and she's incredible.
Yeah,
she's wonderful.
Once I realized that it wasn't my job to convince people about my reality, and that nobody cared what my specific reality was, then I was able to start listening to people like her that I totally disagree with on other things that don't matter at all. Anything I disagree with her on, it doesn't matter. And once I realized that, boy, oh boy, does that open my eyes to a lot more information. And I'm hungry for it now. I just want to learn more. I want to talk to more people. And going into those spaces on Twitter has been really good for me. It's been really healthy for me. I wanted to talk to you about Fred Hampton, about the person, the 21-year-old victim of murder by the United States federal government, who was murdered while sleeping in his bed, shot through a wall, and then shot repeatedly after they found him, dying. They went in there and they shot him repeatedly. And they joked about it. And they knew exactly who he was. And the police went out in public and spoke to the news and said, oh, we were told that we were just going in a regular gang activity and just be careful that there were armed subjects inside, that there were drugs involved. That's what we were told. Yeah, then why did you go in there and after Fred Hampton was already shot one time and bleeding out in his bed, why did you go in there and say, we got you now, man, and shoot him a whole bunch more? Isn't that kind of weird? Who does that during a drug bust? You freaking liars. So let me just say this. Hun, I had no idea. I didn't know who Fred Hampton was. You know, Jimmy Dore had mentioned him a couple times, and I had heard that he was a Black Panther, that he was killed in the Black Panther. I'm such an ignorant fuck. Listen to this. That he was a Black Panther that was killed in the headquarters. That they, you know, I heard the government narrative basically that he had guns, that there was a gun battle, and that he was killed during the gun battle. And when I heard that there was a group coming out, you know, Nick and other guys that were calling themselves Fred Hampton leftists, I kind of disregarded it. I was like, oh, they're the new Black Panthers. How cute. And I didn't really educate myself on who Fred Hampton was yet. And I let it go on. And then I got really jealous because, you know, Nick's on Jimmy Dore all the time. And I'm like, I hate you. I fucking hate you. I wish I was you, you know? So I always hated Nick just for that. And I never listened to Nick.
So do you hate me now because I've been on Jimmy's show?
Yes, a little bit, slightly. You know, super jealous that he was laughing at your jokes so that you got to do your stand-up for him. And, you know, I'm so fucking happy for you. As someone who I consider, you know, a fellow podcaster and as someone who cares about what's going on politically, I gotta say, I have so much love and admiration for the things that you do like that. And yeah, I'm jealous. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't jealous. I want to do that shit. You know? I wish I had the balls. I wish I was savage enough to get on stage and do a stand-up. My only thing is this. Girlfriend, why the fuck are you saying you're only going to do it once? You need to keep doing that shit. Look. If you bomb, you fucking bomb. What? Who the fuck do you think you are, George? You're going to end on a high note? No, I don't think so. You've got a lot of people to go out there and make laugh, and you will do that. So have confidence in yourself, and was it not the most incredible? Are you thinking, this is the way I wanted to end my career, not start it? I mean, what's up with that? How do you do that and say you're not going to do it anymore?
I don't know. I don't want to do the return visit to paradise thing. Like, it was so awesome. And
return
so
visit
well.
to paradise? You haven't even got your 2 tickets yet, girl. You haven't even got your 2 tickets to paradise. You haven't even got your 2 tickets yet. You basically got to watch a movie of it. You still have you got to go live the experience. Look, Jimmy Dore doesn't do this all the time now that he can because, you know, he needs the money anymore, obviously. He loves it, and I think you love it too. But even if you don't love it, if you can just force yourself to do a local show at some point, open mic, I don't care, go do an open mic. You know, that is what the greats do. After they do big shows, they go out, you know, Jay Leno show up at a bar. Dave Chappelle will show up at a tiny little nightclub that doesn't even have a freaking stage, you know, and do a set for 20 people. They do it because they love it and they stay sharp at it, but it excites them every time. And I think if you give it one more shot, I think that you got a lot more stand-up shows to do, you know, and I think you're going to find a passion for it. And the reason I say that is because you were right at home on that stage. You were natural. I didn't, you know, your voice is naturally a little trembly when you talk. It's just got a little vibrato to it, like a little. And when you're on stage doing that, it sounds like you're a little bit nervous when you're talking, but someone that knows how you speak, we know how it speaks, but it plays into the whole bit. Like, you're just this nervous, sweet thing that's just going to get up there, and all of a sudden, it all starts flying, and I think you've really got something great. And I just hope that you'll consider doing it again, even on a small scale, just to see that you still got it. And it's not about that return to paradise at all. It's not about chasing the dragon at all. It's about, I think that you found something that you're really, really good at it, and I think you should keep doing it. You know, when you find something you're good at, you know, I like to sing and play guitar and entertain people. And when I got arthritis and I wasn't able to do that any longer and I stopped doing it, and I had a giant hole in my life. And I forced myself to do it on the show, even though it was painful. And I was starting to get an appreciation for it again. Kind of like what we were talking about, going back to a small little bar and doing just a small thing. And then I stopped eating sugar, and then all my arthritis went away. And then when all my arthritis went away, I realized I could be in a freaking band again. I could jump around. I can do push-ups, which I could never do. You know, someone asked me the other day how many push-ups you can do. I can do more than 8 now. You know, just FYI. Because I'd never pushed myself to do it. But it was getting off that sugar. It's just done on so many levels. Being able to play guitar again for as long as I want to, and not have my wrist and my fingers and my shoulder and my elbow hurt. It's opened up that. And let me tell you something. I played at the House of Blues. I saw Eddie Van Halen. I saw Van Halen play, right? Twice. I saw him play at the House of Blues. And I remember thinking to myself, I want to stand on that stage. And I want to play on that stage. And I got into a band. And it was my dream. And I worked towards it all the time. It was all I could think about. I wanted to get at the House of Blues. And I kept hitting them up and hitting them and hitting them up. And finally we had a few pieces of press. And we had a big enough name. And we got on a ticket. And I got on that stage. And I played the House of Blues. And I've never played another show at that level. I've never played on a giant stage with the giant lights and the huge sound system and the potential to have thousands of people. I mean, it was a small crowd that night. It was like 300 people. And the House of Blues, it looked tiny. You know, it looked like there was nobody in there at all. But for me, it was that paradise moment, right? Joy, do you know how many great shows I've had after that? I couldn't even count. I mean, I went on to tour around. I went on to play a bunch of shows, and we were never on the stage that Eddie Van Halen was on. But we played in front of people who thought we were fucking Van Halen. We were in a little shit bar, and somebody came up and tipped me $50, and they're like, I'm reliving my youth. I had a guy, check this story out. I'm playing in a bar with this, the brother to this guitar, which is right over there, right? My acoustic guitar. And I'm playing live, and I'm playing Pearl Jam, and I'm playing, Bad Company, and I'm playing old rock, and I'm playing 90s rock. One of my favorites is Alice in Chains. And this guy walks up to me, and he tips me. He's like $20. And he's like, I love you, bro. Don't ever stop. And I noticed the guy went over to the bar, had this really nice looking girl with him, and they had a bunch of friends with them. And I was like, wow, I mean, I guess he's, Mr. Popular or whatever. He's getting really drunk. And I started seeing him again and again. 5-6 episodes later, he's coming up to me and he goes, bro, you are the soundtrack of my life. He said, every song you play. He says, will you come to my house and play a party? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. So I meet him, meet the family. It was his wife, meet his kid, Spider-Man. And I play the party, see his horse. Turns out the guy's a cannabis grower. We start really bonding. Turns out he's friends with my friend Dino, right? I'm growing cannabis, and I get evicted from my home where I'm living, right? And I called Dino. I'm like, dude, I'm getting evicted, man. I got to find a home for me and my dog and my cat. I don't know what to freaking do. It's like, anybody you know, whatever. He's like, all right. Calls my friend Tim. Tim's the guy that I'd met in the bar, right? Tim calls me up one day. He's like, what's going on? He's like, you getting evicted? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, that sucks, bro. He's like, if there's anything I can do. He's like, let me know. This is just from playing music, just doing my gigs, right? Just to show you what happens if you decide to start networking again and getting out there in front of people and doing this. This is what happened to me. Hangs up the phone, picks up the phone. He calls me right back. I'm like, what's up? He's like, dude, I just realized something. I just got off the phone with Dan, my buddy Dan. Dan's father owned this home that you see me sitting in right now.
Oh.
Dan called Tim and said, if you know anybody looking for a house, I got a badass one up on the mountain, bro. My dad's house, it's for sale. And Tim had forgotten that. And Tim called me up on the phone, was talking to me, hung up, and was like, oh man, I just got off the phone with Dan. He calls me back. He's like, hey bro, you want to go out and see this house? And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man. I was like, I just got off the phone with my buddy Dan. His dad's selling their house. He's like, I think you're going to like this one. And I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah. So me, him, and Dino, we all met up with Dan, and we came out here. I was like, sold, fucking bought the house. And had I not gotten back out into and playing music again, after that miracle moment, that moment when you're like the Rainbows and Jimmy Dore is laughing at me. It's never going to be like this again. Motherfucker, if some guy didn't put a roof over my head, I've been here for 10 years because of what he did, because I decided to keep playing guitar in bars, shitty little bars, and making $100 a night just because I loved it, because it was fun and I got enjoyment out of it. And people, I like to see people enjoy it as well and see their reaction when I'm doing it. And even as much as I like to be that person that's on stage and being that center point, the focal point, and that tiny little bit of narcissism or selfishness or whatever you want to call it, having the spotlights just on you, blends in perfectly with somebody who can hold an audience's attention, and you end up saving lives over the long run when you're podcasting, or they end up saving your life, putting a roof over your head. So that's just a little anecdote, a little story that happened to me, but I think it applies. And if you ever do it again, I would love to see the show. If you could record the show, the entire show from start to end, and I'd love to play it on my podcast for them, and we'd love to sit here and get high and watch your stand up, because you're fucking hilarious. You're just funny. What can I say?
Aww. You flatter me so every time I come on. Thank you.
Funny how? Joy goes, funny how? What's funny? How am I fucking funny? What's funny? Show me funny. I'm not. What's funny? What?
Yeah. How many times do I say fucking one sentence? 85.
Yes. Yes.
Like a lot.
Yeah. Yep. I've been trying to fool the algorithms a little bit, and that last show I did, I think, this morning's podcast or something, it didn't get age restricted yet, because I broadcast to an age restricted channel. My main channel is age restricted, but I broadcast to 5 other YouTube channels, and some of them are not age restricted, so I get the emails on those that say, we've age restricted your content, we're not giving you a strike, but in the future you might want to try to tone back your content, and here's our list of things you can't say anymore. So, advertiser friendly content. Are you ready for this? According to YouTube now, the new advertiser friendly content, you can't say anything controversial at all. That's not advertiser friendly content. Nothing controversial. I'm not talking about cursing. Controversial content is no longer acceptable by the advertisers at YouTube. And when Graham Elwood and Ron Placone had their super chats taken away, they didn't realize. I went and I looked at the terms of service and I found it. And I was like, oh man, government secrets? Yeah, man, you're not going to do it. They're not going to let you do that. Of course not. You're not going to be able to do government secrets. Just your very title. Redacted tonight. I mean, Lee Camp chooses the best and worst titles for his podcasts. I mean, they're witty and they're hilarious and they're always awesome, and yet they're the worst when it comes to the algorithm. Because, you know, Lee Camp, who is famous, he's like real famous. I mean, he was on fucking Law and Order. You know, he's fucking famous. He's done specials before. He's done comedy stand-up specials before, right? So when he's doing a podcast and there's 72 people watching, I know something's up. Sometimes I like to let something like that just hang in the air for a while and let people think about it. They're like, Lee Camp does a podcast.
I was like, am I frozen?
Podcast does a Lee Camp does a podcast, and there's, you know, 256 people watching, and you're like, dude, Lee, and you look at his subscriber count, because it's low, because, you know, it's like 16,000 or whatever, because he always has to start new channels. And you're like, dude, this has got to stop, man. You got to stop doing this to people like Graham and Lee and Ron. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, stop doing it to Alex Jones, too. I don't agree with anything he says. You want to subtract the content. That's fine. And punish him for a few days. That's fine. And that's all it should be. People make a living doing this. And sometimes selling lies to America is... You know, hey man, the American government's guilty of that, and you don't seem to have a problem with all of the MSM propaganda that you run day in and day out, and might I add, COVID misinformation that you pump out as well on mainstream media all the time, and you get caught doing it. And then, all of a sudden it's no longer the narrative. Well, but you're not penalizing them, but you're penalizing me because I got it wrong, or because you disagreed with what I said, which usually that's what it really is.
Yeah.
I don't know how we keep ending up on this subject. It's like a funnel. We keep ending up right there in that spot about
Holy
AI.
Shit, I just been on for 3 hours.
No, we're in a time warp. It's a time warp. Let's do the time warp again. Let's do the time warp. Yeah, it hasn't been that long. You know. I don't know how many people are in the chat still. It looks like one of my channels went down too. I feel like Jimi Hendrix just blew out an amplifier on stage. I'm literally, there is a recording of Jimi Hendrix. I believe it's Jimi Hendrix live at Winterland. And he's going to start the song. You try to give me your money, you better save it for your rainy day. Fire. He's going to start the song Fire, right? And he goes, all right, we got a new song we're going to do for you right now. He's like, let me see here. I got about 6 sets of speakers left. I've blown out one of my tubes. He says, and Mitch Hayes is on his 5th pair of arms. But fucking hell, I don't give a damn. Oh, it is so bad. Because... you can hear when he turns on his guitar to start the song, there's this massive squeal of feedback. And it is so demonic and monstrous and loud. And it's just like the vibe that he set was like, we're down a little bit. He's like, but we're going to push even harder now. And, oh, God, it's so much energy in one of those performances. Oh, I love a band that can put that energy out on stage. You know,
hell yeah.
I learned that. I've got a friend. His name's Robert Mulligan. He was in a band called D-Root, and he's been in other bands too. Now he's a Hollywood. He's in L.A. and he does a lot of production, all kinds of production work, all the way across from design to costume to makeup to organization to production, producing. Directing, music, all of it, man. He's worked in, at one point or another, in just about every aspect. And he does a lot of gore and, you know, special effects with around horror and stuff like that. He would go on stage. And I would support that band. I was older at the time. You know, he was younger. And he had a lot more energy than me. I was overweight and out of shape. And he was in great shape. And they would record, at my studio, and I would show up and I would read a page before they would go on stage sometimes about legalization of cannabis, because I didn't use cannabis. So at the time, I didn't use cannabis. I was totally sober, and I could talk about it in public. And we didn't have to worry about police waiting for me out at my car or anything, because I wasn't smoking it, I wasn't selling it, any of that. Not at that point. So it was kind of cool. And that made me kind of like a pillar in his bubble. And when I would get to go backstage and hang out with him, and it was fucking awesome. But before a show, Rob would drink water, and he'd get ready. He'd sometimes I think he would even work out or something, get warmed up on his instrument, and he'd be backstage, and he would fucking throw up. He'd vomit before the fucking show. And one day I was talking to him about it, and I'm like, "What's up with that, man?" I was like, "You throw up before you go on stage. Sometimes he'll throw up during a goddamn set, come back on, or at the end of the show he throws up." And he's like, if I'm not throwing up before, during, and after a set, he said, then I know I'm not giving it everything that I have. And I was like, God damn, he's right. And they did that, and that was the performance they put on. And when he got up on stage, he was screaming at the top of his lungs. When he wasn't singing, he was screaming this ferocious growl of a scream. And him and the bass player were literally jumping around, and banging their heads the entire show. And they would get the entire audience into a frenzy, and they would have these giant mosh pits. They would swirl around, and there was this code. They were called the Dance Squad, and Chuckles was part of the Dance Squad, actually. And Joey, our friend he's no longer with us, he was the leader of the Dance Squad, and they took that shit seriously like a fucking gang. These guys all had tattoos, Dance Squad tats, D-Root tats and shit, and they went out there, and the whole thing was, nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt in one of our fucking shows. And if somebody falls over, everybody stops and picks them up. Nobody gets trampled, nobody gets hurt, and if anybody starts fighting or whatever, you just get taken outside. That's it. Chuckles would take you outside. And, these guys, they were ferocious. I mean, it was awesome. I could walk right through the center of that pit. And these motherfuckers were spinning like hurricanes all around me. And they were banging into each other. They were knocking the shit out of each other. And a girl could walk through there. I could walk through there. Robert's parents could walk through there. And they were, elderly, gray hair. And his parents would go to every show too. So supportive. So much love around that.
Aww.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can go on YouTube and watch a D-Root show. Go watch them at the House of Blues or at the Hard Rock Cafe when they would pack
What's their name?
D-Root, D-E-R-O-O-T, D-Root.
Okay.
D-Root. And if you type it into YouTube, just type in D-Root, House of Blues, or D-Root, Hard Rock Cafe, Orlando. 3,000 people in the audience, because that's as many people. It would be a sold-out show every time they would play. They would sell out the entire fucking venue, and then the entire floor would be a mosh pit. And then the last two songs, usually the audience would come up on stage. And the audience would come up on stage.
Oh my God.
Oh man, and mosh and dance around and get crazy and stomp and bang their heads and knock into each other and pick each other up. People would stage dive. There were that many people that people could stage dive. And that you would be floating on, a sea of people. It was crazy. It was a crazy scene. And when I witnessed that amount of energy at a local level, of somebody that I consider my personal friend, and back then he was like my best fucking friend. He's the guy that got me to smoke cannabis again after I'd quit for 5 years. I hadn't smoked cannabis. He said, listen, man, he's like, I know you don't smoke cannabis. He says, I just want you to know a couple things. Number one, it doesn't cause cancer. Number two, it doesn't hurt you. Number three, it makes you feel great. And you know it does because you used to smoke it. He's like, number four, he's like, if you ever want to smoke it again, He's like, "Can I be the person to smoke with you? And will you come back to my apartment with my wife and I and my roommate, and will you smoke with us on our bong?" He's like, "I would be honored." I mean, it was like 2 or 3 weeks after that I was over there doing it. You know. So that was kind of like you smoking cannabis for the first time, but it's it's something to remember, man. That first time that you smoked the cannabis, and if the first time I smoked it, you hallucinate, you do things that you wouldn't normally do. It's amazing. It's like you have more courage, you you have more fortitude, and you have more. It seems like all the knowledge that you've gained, it was always there, but now you have access to it all. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really look forward to you smoking it.
Thank you so much for having me on, Maze. I'm kind of neglecting my husband because he is off tonight. We were going to watch
Oh,
the film.
tell him I said thank you for letting us borrow you. Tell him thank you, thank you, thank you. We love him. Thank you so much. And yes, we were
Well, thank you so much for having me again.
And let's try to do this more often. I would love to have you on. This is great, and that way it doesn't have to be 3 hours. We just do we do a stop and chat anytime you want.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I appreciate that as well. You can follow me at SavageJoyMarie1 on Twitter.
And again, the channel is Savage Joy Marie Man.
Savage Joy Marie Man.
2 N's on YouTube.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. As we go into 7:10, everybody, what a perfect time for her to leave. It is 7:10. It's almost as if she knew it was. She's like, I better give them their privacy for 7:10. Happy 7:10, everybody. Boy, oh boy, man, I I told them they probably called me. Oh my God, you're open? I can't believe it. My name is Ben, and my friend Dino brought Slayer in today, and I've offered to pay for anything. I was told that there was $1,000 deposit that was required. Slayer Nelson. Slayer, like the band's Slayer. I believe. I mean, he. I just called yesterday and spoke with somebody, and they had given care to the animal, and he was just there. I believe they just needed a deposit for surgery. Dino Nelson. You got it? Oh, you found that. Oh God, I was so worried I had the wrong place. Oh no, that's fine. Give me a second here. Um, yeah. So, is there? Do you guys need a deposit? $1,000. So he was able to come up with $1,000 because I want to pay for that. So I mean, damn it, son of a gun. Well, I can't get him on the phone, but he's probably on the road right now, and I just don't know how to get him on the phone, man. He's in the mountains probably driving. I want something to drink. Let me get a hot chocolate. bumped into Rogi's dish, his water dish, but it's in a big thing that if you bump into it, it doesn't spill out on the floor, man. It's got a big apron around it. I was like, oh, this thing's awesome. It saved me, man. I'm about to grab my my dabber and do a 710 dab. I'm sorry I haven't done it yet. Man, it really helps me to talk to Joy to try to organize some of those thoughts. I mean, as far as going back and getting rid of laws, dumb laws, man, that really is a solution to a lot of our problems, man. No law regarding, 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 no law regarding. You name it, that'll fix most of the issues. You know? Stop writing all this legislation. That's the problem. You know, everybody wants to be a fucking judge. Everybody wants to be a judge instead of a fucking prosecutor. You know? Man, it was really nice talking to her and getting all of these thoughts out there. I need to have more conversations with more people like that, obviously. You enjoyed it? Oh, cool, Enoch. Right on, man. I'm glad you guys liked it, man. I was watching them chat the whole time. I want you to know, sometimes it's hard to answer some of the stuff you guys are saying in there. But I want you to know, I was looking and I really appreciated you guys participating that entire time. I forgot to turn my front light on at the beginning of that. Not funny. Ready for a dab, guys? Now that I got my hot chocolate. My hot cocoa. I got my hot cocoa. I got my hot cocoa. I got my hots on for nowhere. Psh, psh, unreal, pal. Nobody's... Ooh. Hello, everyone. Sophisticated here. What are we doing? Ooh. I say we do a dab. What do you say? Ooh. What is this? What is that thing? Get that out of there. I don't like it. Ooh, yes indeed. Yes indeed. Let us do a dab. Move this flammable lighter. Let me see here. This little pendant. What does that have on there? Ooh, a little dust. Ooh, look at this. Diamonds. Beautiful. Beautiful diamonds, everybody. Ooh. Ooh, yes, Abraham Alvarez. Yes, great content. Thank you so much. I appreciate so much. It wasn't an interview. It was a hanging out session with Savage Joy. We were just shooting the shit, so to speak. Oh, yes, indeed. Just shooting the shit with Savage Joy. Woo! It's turning orange. We're going to dab. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabis isn't for all. Cheers, everybody. I'm getting into this. Yes. A little dab shall do us just fine. the sophistication. Good day to all of you. I should do a dab. We should dab, huh, guys? Who wants to do a dab? I got my dab rig right here ready to go. What say all of you to a dab? You guys want a dab? Fine. I do. Yeah, you gonna do a dab, dude? Yeah, dude, you want to do a dab? Yeah, dude, I want to do a dab, bro. I'm gonna do a dab, dude. Dude, I wonder when the last time was I did a dab. It feels like forever. I'm gonna do a dab, dude. I'm gonna dab this, dude. I'm gonna do a dab, dude. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabis isn't just for all. Cheers, everybody. Wow, look at that. Nice and orange hot. Ready for a big old dabby. Cheers, guys. Okay, have another. What? Have another dab. That tastes like goddamn Fruit Loops. I'm so high I can't even blow a smoke ring. Man, that feels like 2 dabs. Holy shit. You guys having fun? I got a little hot cocoa. Let's do a little hot cocoa. What do you say? That was a great guest show, bro. Nick. Savage Joy Marie is awesome. She is awesome. What can I say? I'm a huge fan of hers. I'm a fanboy. And her husband is very tolerable. I give him credit. You're a fanboy too. Dude, this hot chocolate is so fucking good. And this mug keeps it nice and hot. That's great cocoa. That's great cocoa. I'm cutting my beard off, people. I'm sick of it now. Now I'm fucking sick of it. I'm looking like in the morning when I'm brushing it in the mirror and stuff and putting the beard balm in it. I'm like, I'm so sick of this. The problem is I have really bad skin. I like having all this facial hair to cover up my bad skin, you know? When am I cutting it off? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm cutting it off. Hey, Chris, what's up, buddy? That's amputation. Yeah, for you it would be amputation. Look at that thing. Look at that beard you got, bro. That's plumage, son. It's got great plumage. Plumage? It's dead. It's pining for the fjords. Pining for the fjords! It's deceased. No, it's not. I'd like to have the whole fucking, the parrot is dead monologue in my brain. That would be great to go back and forth on that. But also to do their accents properly as well and sound just like both characters. Eric Idle. Terry Gilliam and Eric Idle, is that who it was? Yeah, man, I'd like to be able to do both of their voices. Maybe like a sophisticated nay spin. Kind of like trying to learn to do, what was it? What was that, yesterday or this morning? I can't remember, where we were talking about me doing an impersonation of Johnny Carson, because I was talking like Alex Jones, but kind of sounded like Johnny Carson a little bit. Little Johnny Carson. Sounding a little bit like Johnny Carson for the Johnny Carson show. I was trying to sound more like Alex Jones, but actually, she was getting more Johnny Carson vibe out of it. That's how you learn to do voices, man. It's if you sound like somebody else and you figure out what's similar that you're doing. It's making those two voices sound the same. The thing is I don't know what Johnny Carson used to say. I can't think of any of his standard lines. You know? Ed McMahon. This is Ed McMahon sitting next to me. Ed? Ed, what do you got for us today, Ed? You know, he used to talk, you know, he would keep his jaw very still while he would talk. That's what Alex Jones and him have in common. The jaw, the lower jaw not moving while they talk. That is it. Johnny Carson and Alex Jones. Johnny Carson. Alex Jones. Huh. Very similar. You know, Johnny will only snort half a line of cocaine before he goes live on the Johnny Carson show. He needs all that energy so he can do his entire show without interruption. I drank a whole cup of coffee with Savage Joy and this hot cocoa, and I never had to get up and leave the podcast one time. How long? 3 hours? 3 hours, 20 minutes? 3 hours, 30 minutes? Something like that? Not bad, not bad. You know, it's because I only snorted half a line of Super Male Vitality before I started. And I was ready. I was ready on all levels. Johnny kind of talks through his teeth. Yeah, he keeps his jaw from moving too much. Let's hear from the band. Let's have some music there played by the band as we've got coming out tonight. Special guest and friend of the show, everybody. We've got Jerry Seinfeld tonight. It's coming out. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Seinfeld. Every once in a while you got to do this when you're talking. You got to make these go out. You got to go like that. Johnny Carson would do that every once in a while. He would stress certain words. Oh, isn't that funny? I'm trying to remember. He did kind of do that. Ed McMahon, my cohort partner in crime here. What was the character he played that read the future? That put the hat on its head. Would wear that like a gypsy hat, like a fortune teller hat. What was the name of that character? You would give him a card. And he would say so. He would hold it up to his head and he'd say something. Then he'd hand the card to Ed McMahon. Ed McMahon would read it. It would be funny. What was in the card? He used to do that all the time. As a common bit. Nobody knows the name of that character, huh? Almost like Sean Connery, but without the English accent. Not English, he's Scottish. Sean Connery is Scottish, right? Isn't Sean Connery Scottish? My bad if he's not. Maybe he's Irish. I think he's Scottish. Of Scottish descent. If it ain't Scottish, it's crap. Michael Myers was so funny. It's so sad that he's completely out of the public eye now. He's just not doing anything that I know about. Michael Myers from Saturday Night Live. From Wayne, Garth, Wayne and Garth's. Party on Wayne, party on Garth. Karnak the Magnificent. Karnak the Magnificent. I will now read to you what it says inside this envelope here. You gotta think of a joke backwards. You gotta do the punchline. You gotta say the punchline. To get to the other side. Ed opens it up. Why'd the chicken cross your mom? Karnak the Magnificent. I didn't even know that. Karnak the Magnificent. It sounds right. Sean Connery. Sean Connery. That's all I can do. We did a dab. We had fun. We had joy. We had fun. What? We had seasons we had bong rips in the garden. What? We had joy, we had fun, we had bong rips in the garden. We had Rogie and Harles just chilling. Where's fucking Harles? Harles ruined it all. Harles ruined it. It was perfect until that moment. It was a perfect moment. Karnak the Magnificent. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, you guys get out of here. Show's over. Leave. Bye. Bye-bye. Go. Leave. Nobody's even doing it like that anymore, Bal. Nobody. Nobody. How's he do? Huh, that's hard to play. D minor is the saddest chord. I wonder how many songs I know on piano. won't care. He's getting our share. Working on our night blues. Trying to lose them. All our good teenage blues. Working on our night blues. In the summertime. Yeah. Sweet summertime. Now news, now news, but now news, now news. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Working and practicing. Ooh, on a night moves. You know, some re-engineer thinks it'd be a good idea to put some stupid fucking update available screen over the top of whatever I'm doing on my screen because they're freaking idiots. Get this shit off my screen. Exit. Close my room. Oh, yeah, you guys, man, you guys need to watch this video. Right here. Everybody watch this video about vegetable oil, okay? We're literally been poisoning ourselves for years and we didn't even know it. When you hear the facts behind vegetable oil stays in your body for years. Hidden data. Vegetable oils are in everything. They're bad for your health. Toxic oxidation products. How they make the vegetable oils. It's rancid oil, guys. They take fucking rancid oil and then they deodorize it. Can you believe that? Yeah, man. That's how they make it. Oh, there he is. He's like, Dina's like, I'll kill for you. Cool. Okay, cool. I could call them and I could pay for this. I believe. Okay, cool. Good. Alright, I'm gonna take care of that. You guys want to see something cool? I made one of these today. Whole case. Whole case of triage oil. 48 bottles. Pretty cool, huh? Working. Got that done. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Alright, you guys. I gotta do some stuff. I love y'all. Take care. I hope you guys had fun with Savage Joy Marine Man, and I want to say thank you to Savage Joy Marine Man for making the show extra special tonight. We had a really good time, and we'll do it again soon with her. You guys have a great evening. Enjoy your nights, okay? Bye now. Oh, tweakage. Tweaking the O. Rogie tweakage. It's perfect 7-10. Alright, bye guys.